to this committee should you take the majority in November?
Well, we'll investigate. I want to see all the depositions. I want to see all the documents. And a ranking member, Rodney Davis, has already sent a preservation letter to the committee saying preserve all this information so we can look at it and the American people can get the full story, not just this one-sided choreographed presentation we got, we got the other night. So, but when you think about what this committee has done, never in the history of this country, in the history of the House of Representatives, has a minority leader not been able to put on a select committee the individuals he or she has selected. We also know that this committee has altered evidence and lied to the American people about it. So much so that they had to issue a statement which says, we regret the error, which is government speak for, we got caught lying.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you something about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun, sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 770 cities around the world. We just finished our 13th year of broadcast excellence. Now in our 14th year, the Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. The worst thing about Biden as the lamest president in our history is the contrast to the Biden administration and Trump policies. All of Trump's worked. So Biden set out to destroy them with 60, 70 executive orders right from the get-go. And this is what's becoming the most tragic time in America. While Biden was greeted with a sigh of relief from bad orange man derangement, we must remember Trump was viciously attacked from the time he came down the escalator to announce his presidency. This led to now a 7-year coup. It's still going on. With the 1-6 committee. And let's see what they thought of Trump when he first got elected, when all this started.
I can't put a happy face on that. And that's my job.
This is the first time throughout this entire race where I'm officially in my pants. I genuinely do not understand how America can be this disorganized or this hateful.
How do you govern when your whole campaign was built on the hatred of somebody else?
From slavery to, Nazism, we have faced challenges before to who we are as a people.
Plus the Supreme Court, who knows where that's going to go. So the only checks and balances we have are us, the View.
Biden is clueless to his failure because he has never experienced anything like real leadership. A senator all his life until he became vice president, where he made most of his corrupt deals. And he's a career hater of the Constitution and American values. Somewhere along the line between Obama, Biden, and Trump, there was a deal cut with the Mexican cartels and the DNC that once they came back into power, they could all make a fortune by ridding America of its southern border. The cartels are making billions on the backs of the women and children who are regularly raped, and the drugs that they send them with as carriers to our country. Our deaths from youth to addicts has gone up exponentially over the last 1.4 years, and Dems thought they could seal their bond with Latinos with this strategy and keep blacks on the plantation. Just like 2016, where Trump got a surprising amount of Latinos and blacks. Rumors of Latino support for Dems were just exploded by a House race in the 34th District of South Texas. Mayra Flores flipped the seat from a Democrat incumbent for the first time in over 150 years. Plus, blacks are being affected by crime, inflation, lack of police. And Joe left room for women. He didn't forget about women. Now he's got a huge problem, the Democratic Party does, with women because of the shortages of baby formula, tampons, gas, and food. And now to cap off the third impeachment of the Trump administration and beyond and before, the 1-6 committee is breaking over 200 years of tradition and has assigned Congress with a stacked deck of lawyers and judges testifying without due process. Let me repeat that again. Lawyers and judges testifying without due process and doing it willingly. Rush Limbaugh once said, "If these people get in power, they will destroy the economy, come for your SUV, your guns, your freedoms, and they'll blame you for fighting them." I think this is sort of tepid. Of course, this was years ago when Rush was alive. It was tepid because now they're just not blaming us. They're seeking to put us in jail or worse. Thank you, Owen McNamee, for sending me this morning. Hi there, welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. My name is Dave Weinbaum. I'm here with, I'm here with my lovely bride, Lisa Ann Weinbaum, the law.
Good morning, and
Good morning.
I did not interrupt your monologue in any way, shape, or form.
Shockingly grateful for that.
There you go.
No, that's because it's almost expected, you know. And she had to patch me up this morning. I cut myself shaving. Now, when I shave, I'm shaving the back of my head too, so I can't see if there's a little pimple or anything back there. And I think I scraped one off, and I was bleeding, wasn't I?
It's a cut. It's definitely a cut.
Yeah, a cut. Okay.
And it could start bleeding when you take your hat off.
So she
So,
you think? Well, I got a red hat on, so
I was going to say, good thing the hat's red. Yeah, it'll blend right in.
It'll hide that anyways.
Your
All right, we got a great show
off.
for you today. Standing by right now, I think I saw his face, and now I don't see it. I think is our opening act, J.J. Bradshaw. We've got Rabbi Moshe calling with more news from the Middle East. We're getting more and more scoops out of Rabbi Moshe. We've got our wonderful personal psychologist who we have great conversations with. She's really good for, you know, how we feel kind of questions based on what's happening now in the world. And that's Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim. We've got the great anti-Marxist author Chris Adamo coming on, and for our legal advice, and who's better at that than Elad Hakim, and both of the Hakims will be calling from, well, they'll be calling from Boca Raton. And now we have our opening guest, and I think we play a song right now.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You got
mud on your face, you big disgrace, kicking your can all over the place, singing, we will rock you. We will rock you. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is now 254 years old. Did I get it right?
You got it.
Thank you. All that after I go like 3 digits of numbers, it's kind of hard for me these days. So 254 years old. He grew up as a kid. He was in the Revolution, for goodness sakes, and he hung out with George Washington and Ben Franklin and Tom Jefferson. And they used to go to Ye Old Tavern and pick up colonial women. Okay, so I want you to welcome to the show a man who keeps all of his intelligence, his wealth of knowledge, under a tinfoil yarmulke, even though he's not Jewish, or he claims to be not Jewish. John Jeffrey Bradshaw. Hello, JJ. What's under that tinfoil hat of yours today?
Well, I have a shameless plug that I'm going to stick in first.
Go ahead.
I am at Gadsden Shooting Center in Iberia, and I've been camped out up here for a week, hosting the DC Project. And I'll bet you, Nickel, you've never heard of the DC Project. I'm going to tell you what it is. There's a pro shooter named Diana Muller, who is a retired Tulsa cop, created the DC Project. Now, here's something innovative. 2 women, volunteers from each state, are supported by DC Project, so that's 100 women, and they lobby their elected representatives for pro-Second Amendment issues. What's interesting about that is statistically a woman can get in and see their elected representative much easier than a man can, probably because they're a little rare in that lobbying effort. So far, they've been successful. Okay, end of the shameless plug. I'm having a good time up here. This match is going to go off this weekend just flawlessly.
So you're competing, is that right?
I am not. I am the Mr. Fix-It guy. I fix the stuff that breaks.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. So, okay, so what do you think of the 1-6 committee?
Well, I'm pretty disgusted by them. Something that disgusts me more than that, however, is the Senate considering red flag laws and new so-called gun safety regulations and laws. What frosts my donut about that is that Roy Blunt, our Rhino representative, Rhino senator, has at least in theory agreed with what the Democrats have shoved into the Senate. Whether this anything passes or not, of course, nobody can tell. But, Roy Blunt's on his last. He's retiring at the end of this term. So I think he feels no obligation to his conservative constituents to do the right thing anymore. Nobody, at least nobody that I know, and I've been looking, has read the text of this thing. This legislation is still a moving target. But I did read in general what the framework of this thing is, and it does support red flag laws at the federal level, which I think is terribly, terribly wrong. It also attempts to keep folks that are 18 years old from purchasing weapons legally. You can vote at 18. You can enter the military at 18. You can pick up a gun and fight for your country.
Well, I thought it did not raise they sort of gave away that one. But let me play you a clip about the red flag laws, because Tucker Carlson did a great opening on it.
Please do.
Yes, hit it.
Who does want to prevent mass shootings? Well, only the gun lobby. Everybody else cares about children. So a lot of Americans, not surprisingly, now say they want red flag laws. And why wouldn't they? Like supporting Black Lives Matter, or fighting climate change, or getting the COVID shot, or standing with the brave people of Ukraine. Red flag laws seem like one of those ideas that no decent person could possibly oppose. You want crazy people to have guns? Of course you don't. Who would? So naturally, you're for red flag laws. And in fact, we may soon get red flag laws across the country. So what would that mean if we do? Well, two things you should know. First, red flag laws will not end mass shootings, but red flag laws will end due process.
Yeah, would you comment on the due process part of that and where that's going, please?
You know, you have a 14th Amendment right to due process. Red flag laws would cause you to be guilty before proven innocent. And what that means is someone says, oh, my God, JJ's got a lot of guns. He's mentally unstable. Whether I am or not is hardly relevant. But the law can come and take your weapons, and you have to go before a magistrate at some point and prove to them that you're not a hazard to anyone.
So you're not innocent until proven guilty.
That's correct.
You're sort of like assumed to be guilty.
Turns it on its head.
Yeah.
This, you know, in theory, this is not such a bad idea. The trouble is where the rubber meets the road on this is fraught with peril. This thing is wide open for abuse.
Yeah.
Wide open.
What theory would make this okay?
Let's say that you had a history of mental illness and it was untreated. Wouldn't that be a reasonable thing to remove guns from you?
No, unless you go before a court. If you're assigned a particular kind of criminal and or other case, no, it would not provide for an ability to take somebody down because you got to prove in front of a court. Otherwise, that leaves us open for anybody accusing somebody of a mental illness, and they will take away your guns.
That's
not without a trial, not without a defense. They just had a case in the Supreme Court a year ago where a wife who was in a fight with her husband called up and said he's a dangerous man and he's got guns. So they came and took away his guns. He sued all the way up to the Supreme Court. Guess what the Supreme Court decided?
Tell me, Dave.
9-0, he keeps the guns.
Yes.
There was no due process. That's 9-0, and these are some of the flakiest judges in the world.
The point, though, about the red flag laws at the federal level is that they put that cart before the horse. They put you as guilty until proven innocent, and you have to prove that you're innocent.
Yeah.
There is no due process in this.
Well,
and
that's
right now
a big
they're
deal.
working on a mechanism to cause there to be some due process, but it's completely backwards. It's like something you would see in Cuba or Venezuela, certainly not our republic.
All right, I'm going to play one more for you, number 6.
Please do.
Due process is a simple concept, but it's the key to everything that is good about America. In our system of justice, citizens cannot be punished without first being charged with a crime. Politicians cannot just decide to hurt you, throw you in handcuffs, lock you in jail, seize your property, simply because they don't like how you think or how you vote. No. Before they punish you, they have to go through a formal process in which they describe which specific law you broke and exactly how you broke it. They have to prove it. For serious crimes with big penalties, the government has to convince a group of your fellow citizens first. It's called a grand jury. And this government must convince them that you deserve to be punished or they cannot proceed. None of this is new. This is the way we've done things in America for more than 200 years. And it's exactly why we have and have always had the fairest justice system in the world. People move to this country from all over the globe to benefit from it.
Now, are you a little bit more adamant about not risking our due process over this?
I don't suggest we risk due process at all. I'm completely against red flag.
All right. But it's how it can be taken, and once you start a precedent, it becomes a precedent for things that you don't like. They have a precedent for.
The problem with this is absolutely huge. If you have a regime like we have now in the Congress and the White House, they are known for abuse. That is their mode of operation. And these red flag laws would be loose enough that they will go after their political foes immediately.
Yeah.
And, by the time this thing works its way through the courts, it's been going on for 6 months, 10 months, a year, where your rights, your due process has been avoided for political purposes.
Well, that's why they don't get the guns first. You have to prove. That's why they shouldn't get the guns first. You gotta go through the process. And,
that's absolutely right.
There you go.
That's absolutely right.
All right.
But what this legislation will do is turn that on its ear. Now, ultimately, it'll be decided that it's unconstitutional, but look at the damage that's done while this is happening. This is just wrong on so many levels because it is open for abuse. And the Democrats are going to abuse it. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah. And you've got not just the one Republican that you talked about. There's like 9 or 10 Republicans that are going to go with this.
Yeah, the one that I've been writing letters to is Roy Blunt because he is our elected representative. And I've been blasting him daily.
But he can get away with it because why? He's retiring.
That's right. He's a goner.
But the rest of them, like Cronin from Texas, he's claiming that those of us who object to it, we're just being political. In other words, we're evil. We're evil somehow. And, we don't care about children.
Well, of course, but this is the Congress, and the Congress is entirely political.
Well, yes, but being political also means that you have to look at the Constitution because that's what we're bound by. That's what we swore. If you're a congressman, a judge, president, you swear on the Constitution to uphold it.
Yes.
And that's not doing it. You're breaking the Constitution right there.
They are pretending that the Constitution doesn't exist in this regard. Well, that's a slippery slope. As soon as you do that once and get away with it, pretty soon you're going to be committing more and more egregious damages to our liberty. So I'm very much opposed to these things. I think we ought to do the things that will secure our schools and secure our hospitals, but this is certainly not it. If you're concerned about these things, arm the schools. Do what the Israelis do.
Right.
It's crazy that our Congress does a dance around these things and has done so for so many decades. They've refused to solve the problem because it's politically incorrect. My God, we profile somebody. Oh, no, not in the United States. The point there is they make no effort to actually solve the problem. And what they're doing, Dave, is punishing the innocent for the sins of the guilty.
Yes.
So I'm very adamantly opposed. And thankfully, the D.C. Project ladies are lobbying to get this sort of thing thrown out.
All right. What else do you have for me, J.J. Bradshaw?
I have a little bit on inflation.
Okay.
We have a national debt right now of about $30.5 trillion. That's 12 zeros. $33.5 trillion. You know what the interest on that is every day?
Probably close to $1 billion. I don't know.
No, it is $900 million a day.
Oh, $900 million. All right. Well, that's close to $1 billion, by the way. Okay, that's pretty close.
Now, we have a Congress and a president that are very much printing money like there wasn't any tomorrow, and they're giving it away. Of course, what does that do? That bumps inflation up. You've got to have something to back those dollars.
And now they want to give checks out to people because of the gas prices.
Yes.
Okay.
This is insidious because if you look at this thing, during Donald J. Trump, inflation was reasonable, stock market was booming, gas prices were good. And as soon as Joe Biden got in with his Marxist cronies behind him, all of a sudden inflation goes up, fuel supply goes down. All of a sudden we can't get items to the grocery store because the truckers can't afford the fuel. Who caused this?
Joe Biden and the Democrats, there's no doubt about it.
That's absolutely correct.
Right.
And any reasonable person that looks at the facts in this is going to say, wait a minute, these clowns caused this problem. And now they're trying to put things in place to slow down the problem that they caused themselves.
You got it.
This is government in the worst form.
I know. It's a tyranny. Hey, great job, my friend. We're going to end this and let you get back to your duties as some kind of a fix-it guy in a gun show. I don't know what the hell that is. I don't even want to know what it is. But let's hear it right now for the opening act of the Dave Weinbaum Show, John Jeffrey Bradshaw. Thanks, friend. You have a great weekend.
Dave. God bless you.
God bless you, too. Have a great weekend. Okay, John Jeffrey Bradshaw. Let me read some of this stuff. Did I mention Owen McNamee giving me that quote? Good. See, I even forgot if I mentioned that or not. Thank you, Owen. And he's saying, good morning, happy June 17th. Good morning, folks. Pamela Tanner, I know, is on there. Good morning, happy June 17th. I guess that was her. Yep. Oh, okay. Good morning, Pam. And she said something, too. Birdie Kirby, good morning. Good morning, Birdie. And we've got Pamela Tanner. I am very disappointed in Roy Blunt and very proud of Josh Hawley for standing so strong. Yeah. My lawyer was once Blunt's campaign manager early on. His name is Dwayne Benton, and he was the head of the Missouri Supreme Court at one time. He thought he was going to become one of the Supreme Court justices. Brilliant guys, a lot of fun. But I never got a hang for his politics, so to speak. I always thought he was just a fun guy. He was the Supreme Court head of the Supreme Court. Now he's now a federal judge, and he would go out and do a speech. He'd be entertaining. He'd be telling jokes. He'd be doing stand-up comedy out there. He was a riot. And at one point, he mentioned me, and he says, I was his lawyer for 6 years. And I says, I don't remember him ever paying me. He says, I would have paid you if you won any cases. He did that in public. Then the crimes became too hard to avoid. No, actually, he was a good guy. So I enjoyed it. He did a lot of work for me. So interesting to see a Supreme Court judge, the head of the Supreme Court of Missouri, and he comes in as a witness for me in a divorce trial. He's not handling it because he's a judge at this point. But, man, the judge prettied himself up. He must have washed his robes, and he treated him with such discretion. And the first thing he did, and the second thing he did, the first thing he did is he hugged me when he walked in. And the second thing he did, he hugged me when he went out. And don't think the judge didn't see that, okay? I mean, I was learning, all right? And, and then he got on the stand, and the judge somebody would ask a question, and he says, well, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't remember. It sounded like me, okay? That was a great experience. Okay, so coming up, we've got commercials that we can do, and I think we need to do one right now. Let's get it out of the way. I think I want to do 3 today because I'm not going to have a live show next week. I'm not going to tell anybody where I'm going. I'm just not going to do it for 1 week. And let's call it a little vacation, okay? So let's hit it.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Kent's Jewelry does custom engravings for almost anything. Awards, signs, guns, swords, mugs, yetis, and knives. Kent is the premier custom jeweler in mid-Missouri. We have a great staff, the technology, and equipment to create what you dream for, jewelry and engraving. Kent's Jewelry, 907 North Pine, downtown Rolla, 573-364-1030. That's 573-364-1030. Locally owned. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping, too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh, baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Less than 1 family out of 7 in the Soviet Union owns an automobile. Most of the automobiles are driven by the bureaucrats. So an order went out one day to the police that anyone caught speeding, anyone, no matter who, gets a ticket. Well, Gorbachev came out of his country home, his dacha. He was late getting to the Kremlin. There was his limousine and driver waiting. He told the driver to get in the back seat, he'd drive it. Down the road he went. They passed 2 motorcycle cops. One took out after him. And pretty soon he's back with his buddy. And his buddy says, well, did you give him a ticket? And he said, no. Well, he said, why not? Oh, he said, too important. Well, he said, we're told to give anybody a ticket, no matter who it is. Oh, he said, no, this one was too, I could. Well, he said, who was it? He said I couldn't recognize him, but his driver was Gorbachev.
Oh, man, Reagan was funny. Trump's kind of funny sometimes, but not like Reagan was. Reagan was a pro at that. And, here's Reagan. He wasn't a great student or anything, but he knew how to lead people. He was. They were all saying, "Oh, he's just a B actor." No, he wasn't just a B actor. He was the head of his union, for goodness sakes. He was head of a union. Imagine that, a Republican as head of the actors union, and then he became a governor of California, of all things. And so he understood how to lead people. He understood how to negotiate. Biden is, if you don't like it, I'm going to do it anyways. I don't care whether it looks good or smells good or whatever. I'm going to do it. Is it illegal? I don't care. I'm going to say he's threatening to do all sorts of things that are lawless and illegal, just like the border, lawless and illegal. And he's going to look at what's happening with the judges, the Supreme Court judges who just now got signed to have more security because Pelosi decided to get off her tuchus and get that bill in after a Supreme Court justice was threatened, and another one was having her house staked out with her 7 or 8 kids in there. That's Barrett. And, they're still in danger because why? They're letting them demonstrate on their property. Okay? And that's a federal law against this. So they're only enforcing certain laws and not enforcing others and putting our Supreme Court justices in dire danger of being killed or hurt or harmed, having their children killed, hurt, harmed, kidnapped. And this is outrageous. And it's illegal. And they're talking about Trump and how Trump's the January 1st. Let me ask you a question. Does anybody know what happened to those 20,000 National Guards? And I'm sure they're going to come and regret what they did and really have, Rudy Giuliani and other people to go on there with a counter story, with maybe a defense, like normal human beings in America would do. You would have due process, something we're just talking about with these red flag laws. Who doesn't agree with me? Call the show, 573-578-2700. And I think we'll do one more. Let's do Pelosi Frankenstein before my friend Rabbi Moshe comes on. Hit it. This is Nancy Pelosi.
You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic.
This is Nancy Pelosi.
So, just
I don't think you know what? I don't think she's a horse.
No,
but we know she's an ass.
Definitely. And just here's the thing:
what?
Hearing that,
yeah,
and now with this January 6th debacle,
oh my God.
Just keep that in context. Keep that at the forefront of your mind when you're listening to all this.
Yeah.
I just beg people.
Yeah.
She actually said this. This is the strategy.
This is it.
The Democrats will tell you exactly what they're going to do, why they're going to do it, and how.
And it's very calm and very teacher-like.
It's like methodical.
It's methodical. It's how to screw anybody in this country and lie about them and get the lies out. Okay, get the lies out. So, let's send it to the press, and then we can have the press do it. It's exactly what Hillary did with the Russia hoax.
Another point here is that, we know there's a double standard, but just look at it this way. The shooting in Texas just happened.
Yeah.
The problem's the gun.
Right.
It's not the shooter, it's the gun. Why? Because the shooter didn't fit the narrative that they want. Kyle Rittenhouse fit the narrative.
Right.
That they tried to create.
Then it was Kyle,
so then
racist.
It was Kyle's fault. It wasn't the gun, it was his fault.
Kyle, the racist, said
notice how they change it based on how they want it to be viewed.
And Kyle backed Black Lives Matter. Do you believe that?
Right.
It's just unbelievable.
Yep.
Anyways, I see a familiar face on the screen, and there he is. Hi there. All right. We're going to play his song, so he doesn't get all mad or anything.
Yeah, 1 second, Dave. You were talking to another rabbi? Sounds like you're cheating on me.
No, actually, I'm cheating with you on him because he was the first rabbi. Listen to this. I got rabbis fighting over me. This is kind of weird.
All right, this man has more scoops than Ben and Jerry. He's a Middle East psychic. He travels the world aligning Christians, Jews, and Muslims. He's the official rabbi to Missouri in the Dave Weinbaum Show. Please welcome all the way from Efrat, Israel, Rabbi Moshe Rothchild. I want to talk to you a little bit. Lisa was applauding. I want to talk to you a little bit about Fiddler on the Roof. I watch this every 15 years. I don't know why. It just pops up on my screen, and I have to watch it. I don't want to watch it for 15 more years. Of course, I'll be almost 90 then. But when I watch Fiddler on the Roof, first of all, I can't stop crying through it, and I don't know why. But Jews are begging God to save them. Yet they don't really do anything to protect themselves. This is in Russia, the story of many Jews, including part of your family and mine. Has God been sending us messages that we don't understand?
Well, that's pretty profound. Let me just say that for 2,000 years, it was very hard for Jews, or if not impossible, to be self-reliant. It wasn't an issue that they weren't interested in or wanted self-defense. It's that it was not possible. They were in hostile countries. There were periods where things were good for the Jewish people, but by and large, throughout from the destruction of the temple, the year 70 until the founding of the state of Israel, Jews were a very small minority in any country they found themselves in, and they just simply couldn't defend themselves because how's it really possible? It's like a militia in the United States. They can't, a lot of those guys are nuts, but they can't defend themselves against the United States Army. So Jews were never able to. So they only could turn to God. And of course, that's what they did. With the founding of the state of Israel, things have shifted. It's very different. And so while, of course, God is behind everything, but it's far more natural. It seems more natural, God's hand, the 6-Day War, miraculous. The War of Independence, miraculous. But we fight, we have an army. Jews are not afraid anymore. We don't back down.
Okay, well, that begs the question. That begs the question because what you're saying is Jews were going from country, living there for a while, gaining some wealth, and then having to leave or die. And this happened all throughout since 70 A.D. until after Israel was reinstated. So was God kind of telling us, it seems to me like he was trying to send a message. The message being, you need to go back to Israel. You need to get back there and defend yourselves.
Right. That was a message that we knew. We started immediately at the Passover Seder. The last words are next year in Jerusalem.
Yes.
The last words on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, is next year in Jerusalem. We knew that, and the Bible tells us that. But The Bible also tells us in Deuteronomy chapter 29 that if the Jews don't behave, God will exile them. But in chapter 30, it says they will be once again brought back. Do you know, and I've asked this question to Christians, to Jews, very few people know the answer to this. The single most prophesied event in the entire Bible, the most explicit prophecy in the Bible, right? Do you know what it is? I've asked that to many people. No one gets it right. The answer is the ingathering of the Jewish people to the land of Israel. It's mentioned almost every book of the Bible, and it's explicit and clear. And we see it
is that tied to the Messiah coming?
Messiah is barely mentioned compared to that. Yeah, it's prophesied 40, 50
So it's
times.
all about Jews gathering back in Israel.
Exactly.
So that sort of supports my argument that God is working towards that via him putting us in areas where we're not wanted, but we continue choosing areas where we're going to get eventually kicked out. And I hate to say that, but it could happen here in America.
Yeah. You know what? The Jews of Germany, like the Jews of America, were very wealthy, very influential, were very integrated into society. 80% of Jews in Germany married non-Jews, so we were totally integrated, as opposed to Poland or Russia, where Jews were forced into shtetls and lived on their own. Jews were integrated, and no one believed it could happen in Germany. It was impossible to believe.
Right.
Jews fought in World War I for Germany, and yet look what happened. Look what happened. So, you know, it's quite scary, some of the things I read, what's going on in the U.S.
Do you know what the new Jew is here in America?
No.
Ultra MAGAs. So not only am I Jewish, I'm an Ultra MAGA.
Ultra MAGA.
I'm screwed.
Is that a new?
I am one screwed Jew, let me tell you. So, all right. Hey, anyways, did you hear about the case of the church where Martin Luther preached? There was a Jewish guy. They had these things on churches in Germany still that are statues of pigs representing Jews. Yeah. And this was denied to be taken down by the federal German court.
Well, that wouldn't happen in America, right?
I don't know.
Cancel culture takes everything down.
Well, no, not if it's anti-Semitic. I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But it is amazing, you know, and you know, Dave, that, you know, I've spent the last, 8 years, almost 10 years, working, building bridges with evangelicals who are Protestants. And a lot of them don't know that Martin Luther, who's the father of the Protestants, was sadly very anti-Semitic. He's one of two theologians that Hitler quoted. I would ask the listeners, just type in Martin Luther and the Jews, and you'll see what comes up, the things he wrote about the Jews. He was the first for the calling of the burning of Jews, which is extraordinary.
Your friends, and I know you love them dearly, at Ben & Jerry's, forced their employees to view anti-Israel lectures on Israel and the Palestinian conflict. Your thoughts?
Well, this is what we've been saying all along. When Ben & Jerry's decided they're not going to allow their franchise here in Israel to sell their ice cream in the so-called West Bank or Judea and Samaria, we were saying all along that this was anti-Israel. It wasn't actually helpful at all in the political mess here. It wasn't helpful. They were anti-Israel, anti-Semitic. And now what we see being reported is that they're doubling down. They take a position, and my God, they're selling ice cream, guys. Cut it out. They're not a government. They're not even a nonprofit. They're a business. Just sell ice cream.
Yeah.
It's just
well,
horrible.
I don't like the boycott thing. It's always used against Israel, and I don't like the boycott people. But Disney's getting hurt right now. Disney, the woke Disney. whereas they are threatening to pull some kind of a thing they were going to build in Florida, where they would have gotten a lot of great stuff. They're there to get away from the taxes of California anyhow, and so Disney is saying we're not going to build there, and DeSantis says, okay, no big deal, see ya. Okay,
yeah.
We don't need you. So this woke stuff, I think, is starting to get a little bit of a backlash.
Right.
You know,
the
seems to
Disney
me.
Channel online has also lost a ton of subscribers as well.
Yeah.
Disney Plus, I think it's called.
Yeah, exactly. And they lost I own some stock in Disney. I sold it. Anyways, how many Israel Arabs defend Israel from UN anti-Semitism? Are there some?
There definitely are some. There are definitely Israeli Arabs that are very pro-Israel and understand that their best hope is to live in Israel with an Israeli government, and and that, I think, is the majority. I think that is the majority. I visited
Muslims
here.
or Christians?
What's that?
Are they Muslims or Christians?
Both.
Okay.
There are Israeli Arabs.
It's kind of dangerous for a Muslim to stand out and do things in support of
that's
Israel,
true. So when you talk to Israeli Arab Muslims one-on-one, it's different than what they might say publicly because they're afraid of the mob.
Now, Israel, Egypt, and the EU have signed an export agreement to send Israeli oil and gas to them, and I'm trying to figure out, well, why don't we get that for the United States too? We need it here. Come on, Rabbi, you're the most important man in Israel. I expect to have an Abraham Accord with the Biden administration so we can get some gas.
No, I think you're getting it from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, he's going for Saudi Arabia first, but then again, you're getting very close to Saudi Arabia as well. So how's that going? Do we have any scoops this morning?
No, nothing new to report other than the World Cup with Qatar. Israel is being able to fly direct, and they'll have kosher food there, and so on and so forth.
That's a big deal, isn't it? Because they were very anti-Israel at one point.
Yeah. But back to the gas prices. I read something funny, and maybe you can appreciate this, Dave. I'm not sure the listeners will. It said that. Said the gas prices are so high, even Reform Jews are starting to walk to the synagogue.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, well, you got to explain that because people don't understand. Well, why don't they drive? Well, because you're not supposed to drive on the Sabbath. You're not supposed to do anything on the Sabbath. You can't switch a light on or off. You can't flush a toilet. Is that correct?
You can flush a toilet. Yes, you can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew some black hats that didn't do that. Okay, anyways, other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you and contribute?
They can go to our website, which is on your screen, IsraelAlliance.org, or you can go to Facebook.com/Israel Alliance. Of course, we'd love to hear from you guys.
I've got a question for you, Rabbi. If a deaf person goes to court, is it still a hearing? That's not one of mine. I got it from something else.
I would say it's deafening.
It's deafening? Your applause was deafening. I'm not sure you deserved it, but you deserved it. Okay, Rabbi, thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom.
All right.
Hi to Yonid and the kids, okay? And when are you coming to town?
June 11th, we're arriving in the States. And
no, you're not. It's not June 11th.
That's right.
Sorry, July 11th.
Yeah, probably July, yes. July 11th. All right, well, we'll see you then.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Okay, that's the Rabbi. All right, he's terrific, I think. And we got to play a Seinfeld thing for him. We got a Seinfeld thing? Yeah, let's do Seinfeld bus. Let's do that.
I jumped on the bus. I told the driver, I got a tow here, buddy. Step on it. Holy cow! a sudden, this guy pulls out a gun. Well, I knew any delay's gonna cost her pinky toe, so I got out of the seat and I started walking towards him. He says, "Where do you think you're going, Cracker Jack?" I says, "Well, I got a little prize for you, buddy." Yeah. Knocked him out cold.
How could you do that?
Yeah, then everybody is screaming because the driver, he's passed out because of all the commotion. The bus is out of control. So I grab him by the collar, I take him out of the seat, I get behind the wheel, now I'm driving the bus.
You're Batman.
Yeah, I am Batman. Then the mugger, he comes to and he starts choking me. So I'm fighting him off with one hand and I kept driving the bus with the other, you know. Then I managed to open up the door and I kicked him out the door, you know, with my foot, you know, at the next stop.
You kept making all the stops?
Well, people kept ringing the bell.
See, that's one of the jokes that takes a completely different turn than you're expecting. And that's why it's so funny, because he does something so ridiculous. He was still running the bus, and he was still stopping for the stops when he got a tow. That's an emergency to be replaced on some woman. How goofy is that? How goofy is that? All right, so as of Monday closing on the stock market, we have lost, not me personally, $11 trillion of market value, and that includes about $3 trillion in retirement funds, and people are hurting. You know, people are hurting, and I think it's going to get worse. Let me go through some of these messages, please. We have one from the official pastor to the Dave Weinbaum Show, Patricia Odin Maxwell. Sounding good, looking good, listening from the church today. A lot cooler than at home. Okay, I'll bet you.
Uh-oh.
I'll bet you.
No AC yet?
AC's still out, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No.
Sorry to hear that.
Can't hardly get repair guys.
All right. This is from Andrea Schrum. We in Northeast Missouri are thrilled that President Trump and the Save America tour is coming to our area. Amazing. Right across the river in Mendon, Illinois at the Adams County Fairgrounds on Saturday, June 25th at 7 p.m. Okay, did you get that? Right out of Illinois, across the river from, where is it, northeast Missouri. I don't have a city there. But it's going to be at the Adams County Fairgrounds in Mendon, Illinois, June 25th at 7 p.m. Okay.
And thank you for sharing your show.
Yes, I appreciate that.
And of course we have,
appreciate that.
We have this too coming up as an event.
All right, show it. What is it? You want to talk about it?
It's a shindig, I believe it's called. It's a fundraiser for Susie Pollock.
Yeah.
Who's running for Missouri Senate. She will be at the City of Light and Life Ministries on June 25th at either 5 or 5:30, I believe, where they'll have barbecue, hot dogs, and things like that, as well as a bluegrass band. And Patricia Maxwell invites everybody out to come support her.
Well, if you have a TV there, and I know you do.
And join in the fun.
You could stay later and watch the Trump rally, too. Right? It's out at the same, right after that meeting. There you go.
She's got a TV inside.
All right. You can have a square dance there after that.
Have a good old-fashioned hoedown.
Hoedown, yes. Oh, my God, there's too many jokes I can tell about that. Anyways.
Stick with shindig.
I didn't mean to open Pandora's box with that.
Stick with shindig.
Hear about
That's harder to
the
twist.
fire at the what do you call them? Bordello? Yeah, it was a real hoedown.
Yeah,
see, that's just terrible. I apologize for that. But
I blame myself for that. I kind of opened
it. Okay, come on. I had to do it. This is something that there's a certain amount of addiction in what I do. Wouldn't you say, honey? In that is I hear things and I see a joke.
Which part?
Almost immediately. Yes. The jokes that I create out of things that somebody tells me that, and I'll create a joke within seconds. Not all the time, but some of the time.
Well, I know that you're always looking for an opportunity to make fun of me.
Of course.
Walking around with a little oven mitt
But
on,
you're-
talking all the time.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It follows me around the house now, chatting at me like this.
Yeah.
Oh, where's
No,
my
honey,
brother? Oh.
That's not with me. That's she actually accidentally murdered. Can you accidentally murder somebody? Anyways, she accidentally murdered one of our potholders. It was a flat potholder. It had no real face. It was one of the. It's like having a potholder's pet.
Gray and square.
Yeah, gray and square. And this other potholder has a little face and a little mouth, and you can stick. It's like a puppet, and you can stick your hand in and maneuver it and stuff like that. And this poor little potholder is burned up. She left it in. She left it in the oven underneath whatever she was cooking.
It was your food.
So what? It was fish, and you left it burning, and then she's waving all the smoke away, and she says, "Oh my God, I still smell it. It's still on fire in the sink." Okay, and so the little sister to the little brother is wondering where her brother is, and I had to write a little message from her asking Mommy where her brother was.
Oh, you're goofy.
And I think I think there'll be more because I don't think you found her brother or answered the message. Stephen Schumann, old friend from St. Louis. Good morning, Dave. Greetings from Orem, Utah. We are here for the wedding of my 81-year-old brother-in-law. All the best, Terry and Jan Siemens. Okay, terrific. Mazel tov, my friend. His father used to do all my stores, all the decorations. Norm Schumann. And he's good. He's a good guy. I call him a kid, but he's not a kid anymore. Nobody's a kid anymore. They're all getting old. So, anyways, Bill Gates, he wants someone to pay him $1 billion to prevent the next pandemic. Okay, anyone chipping in? Can I see a bunch of hands? Yeah, okay. I didn't think so. Dr. Fauci, raise up Dr. Fauci for a minute. We need to say a prayer for Dr. Fauci because here's a man that said that if you are vaccinated, you won't have to worry about getting vaccinated again. Yeah, you said that. And what happens? It's announced 2 days ago that he's got COVID. Yeah, how do you get COVID? You said you wouldn't get it. You wouldn't have to worry about vaccinations anymore. You got 4 of them, okay? And you still have the disease. What's the point?
You're going to make his head come off.
Yeah,
if you don't.
That's what my goal is.
Exactly. No, I was saying Dave's going to make his head come off. It's close to spinning now.
So I don't know if he's got more stock deals that he's got to do, and they're asking about this in the Senate right now.
What? My whole question is, I don't believe he actually even got his own shots. That's just my own thing.
See, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. How many of these? Does anyone here believe that all these politicians up there with the confusion over whether these vaccines actually work or if they're actually dangerous, as I believe they are, do you think that these people are actually, all these people seen getting shots, is that really the vaccine? Raise your hand. Come on, Branson. I don't know. Somebody message me or call me at 573-578-2700. You message me on Facebook and or
on Twitter, and also go on DaveWeinbaum.net as well.
Yeah. So my friend Stephen Schumann says he's 65 years old. 65. He's catching up to me.
Yep.
And he's with some young chick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that is, but there he is, 65 years old.
And here's the thing. They had that video of Biden and all them getting their shots right after they did the vaccine mandate thing.
Yeah.
It didn't look like any kind of shot that I ever remember seeing anybody get.
Yeah.
There was absolutely no, unless he's just either.
And based on my experience, you would have seen a lot more casualties, not just people, getting the disease, although you're seeing a lot of them got the disease afterwards. The vice president's had it once or twice. Even AOC has it, okay? So it doesn't work.
And yet...
It doesn't do what they tell you to do.
Again, I had my annual checkup a couple weeks ago. I had COVID-19 antibody testing done as part of my lab work. I have 1,000 more antibodies than somebody vaccinated is supposed to have.
Well, I actually met. I talked to Fauci on the phone. I tried to get him on the show, and this is what I told him. I told him a couple weeks before that about ivermectin. I told him about ivermectin. Okay, this is what I told him. Ivermectin. I take it by the pill. Ivermectin. The pandemic, it will chill. Ivermectin. I let it take its course. Ivermectin. Now I'm neighing like a horse. But it worked. It worked. Dang it. So what the hell's the matter with you? Look at you. You're gonna bob your whole head off, and then we got a problem.
That must be a back symptom of the COVID shot.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's get a couple of clips in. Let's do 2 and 3.
We already knew they want to get rid of the Electoral College. They want to make it that President Trump can't run in 2024. And they had the former head of ABC News as the producer, the choreographer of this thing. But I don't think we learned anything new. Even with hundreds of witnesses, thousands of hours of testimony, no ability for Republicans to do any type of cross-examination, I still don't think there was anything new there. It's kind of like the home team playing at home and the refs on their side, and they still can't win the game. That was sort of my takeaway, and I think that's the American people's takeaway because they're focused on the things you've already just mentioned, Maria. They're focused on $5 gas, 41-year high inflation, a border that's no longer a border, and crime that's on the rise in every major urban area in this country. We didn't learn anything about the answer to that question from the hearing the other night. And only one person can really answer that question. That's the Speaker of the House. And guess what? The chairman of this committee, Benny Thompson, has said she's off limits. He's not going to ask her anything. He's not going to call her. They're not going to depose her. But she's the one who was offered the National Guard from the White House. We know that. We've had countless people tell us that President Trump said, if you need National Guard there that day, they're available. She didn't take him up on that offer because according to correspondence, according to testimony that we had received and media reports, I should say, the Sergeant at Arms says that the Speaker's office didn't like the optics of that. And you know why they didn't like the optics? Because you can never forget the context here. In the summer of 2020, they called rioters and looters peaceful protesters all summer long. And so with that as the backdrop and that as the framework, it's kind of tough then on January 6th to say, you know what, we want more law enforcement. We want the National Guard there to protect the Capitol. I think that's the reason they didn't do it, because of their position on defunding the police and the position they took during the summer of 2020.
An armed man showed up near Justice Kavanaugh's house.
There will be a bill, but nobody is in danger over the weekend.
Their effort to intimidate the United States Supreme Court is so intense that they won't even pass this legislation that passed the Senate unanimously. So think about that. Bernie Sanders supported that legislation. Elizabeth Warren supported that legislation. Every Democrat supported that legislation, and they won't bring it up in light of the fact now that we had an assassination attempt on the sitting justice, a sitting justice of the United States Supreme Court. That is unbelievable that she said, oh, no, not to worry over the week. I mean, that's crazy. So we were all for this. Leader McCarthy talked about this on the floor last week before we left town. Why not bring it up? We were willing to bring it up. Unanimous consent. Just let this thing pass. But Nancy Pelosi held this up.
Yeah, this is a sham. I'm watching this. I mean, they're so into this. I'm watching a federal judge. I think it was a federal judge. He was a appellate judge, and he's saying what Donald Trump did. I would have laid out in the street after what he did. Well, you know what? I would have walked right on you to get to the Capitol if I was so inclined to do. Because what a jerk. A justice who is participating in a trial without due process? You should be impeached, you SOB. And if you are let's say, retired, maybe you should be in jail for that kind of comment during a hearing that has no due process. How dare they not have the ability to call witnesses, to have a defense, to have their lawyers there, to have who they want on that committee, one of whom would be Jim Jordan. The other one is a congressman named Banks. And they denied them both and took two ridiculous rhinos, Liz Cheney and Adam Kissinger or something like that. I can't remember. I actually met Kissinger once when he was, I guess, still a conservative and not a Trump hater. All right, we got more stuff here. Andrea Shrum, I agree with you. I doubt they really took the jab. Oh, they just wanted all we bottom feeders to take it so they could eliminate us or at the very least control us. There you go. And, I think that's true. And I actually went to a Cardinal game this past Sunday with Lisa Ann Weinbaum. And we were celebrating my good friend and longtime banker, Dave O'Reilly. We had Dave O'Reilly Day at the ballpark. I was one of the sponsors, along with Marty Davis, who, by the way, happens to be Rodney Davis's father. So I know both of them very well, too. And so I actually got to talk to the family a little bit about how I thought Dave O'Reilly died. I did not know when he was telling me at first that he had just gotten, like maybe 3 or 4 days ago, a Moderna shot, one of two. Okay, I did not know that. And so he was we used to talk 2-3 times a week. We didn't live in the same place, but we were best of friends. We would go to Cardinal games. He'd get me in the golf tournaments with his bank. I'm still doing golf tournaments with his bank. But, I hadn't heard from him in a while, so I decided to give him a call on a Saturday. Call him on Saturday. Doesn't answer the phone. Nobody answers the phone. And leave him a message. He doesn't get back to me, so I call Saturday night. Finally get him, and he sounded like crap. He sounded like he could barely breathe. And I says, "What the hell's the matter with you?" He says, "Oh, I got the flu." I says, "You sure it's not COVID?" He says, No, I tested negative for COVID. I says, "So how long have you had it?" "Oh, about a week, so." And so I said, "Well, what are they saying you should take?" "I'm drinking a lot of Gatorade or something else." And I says, I think you need to be rechecked." So he goes to the hospital, St. Luke's, which is where my doctor is, in the office buildings there, and where I've had surgeries there. He says, I called him. He says, "Well, they're going to operate on me tomorrow. They say I have a heart problem. They say my veins are all filled." So he has the operation. I call him back. I think it was the day after that, and he sounded great. Okay, he sounded like he was breathing good, and he could talk. And they had a monitor on his foot. And next day, he had 2 strokes and died within 2 days. But at that time, I didn't know he took the shot. Well, I do now. And so does his relatives, his wife, ex-wife, his widow, I should say, and his children. They know it. And they don't seem so concerned about it. Well, I took it too. I'm not dead. And she's a nurse. I don't get that. I just didn't get it. I left it alone. I don't want to, I know when to argue usually and when not to, and I didn't want to argue. She had lost her husband, and she's entitled to her belief. But I believe that. Oh, and then the next guy who's taken his place at the bank, he gets it and almost dies. He's like 55 years old, and then my banker now took the shots in his 30s, upper 30s maybe, no real health problems, and he's got a disease they're calling to be connected to the shots. I just know all sorts of people out. How many of you out there know people who have direct people in their families, their friends, their acquaintances that have gotten the shots that have shown an ill effect or have died? Okay, I'm there. JP's there. My lovely bride is there. We've all seen it, and it's incredible how widespread it is. I mean, the likelihood of that happening is incredible. Okay, I see before me the famous doctor from Boca, and we're gonna play her song.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Now, I want you to know that I play this song to its fullest. I don't really dig in and stop it in the middle like I do all the other songs because it's so good and so well done. And guess who sings it? Who sings that song?
I did.
All right, let me introduce you properly. Workplace psychologist to counseling Americans on how to survive in these challenging times. I don't know whether you knew that or not, but I just promoted you. Speaker, author, and star of radio and TV. Please welcome all the way from Boca Raton, Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim. So Dr. Cooper Hakim, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do I feel?
How do you feel? I don't know, but I hope you feel a 10.
Nah, I don't feel a 10. I don't feel horrible. I'm pretty agitated at the way things are going. But I guess I'm always agitated. It's just agitation. I was agitated when Trump was president and they were trying to take him down. Now I'm agitated when Trump isn't president and they're still trying to take him down. And it's really ticking me off. Plus they're identifying people like me and you to a certain extent as these horrible people because we supported President Trump and or don't hate him. I mean, it's like don't you find that a little frustrating?
It is frustrating when we classify any group of people. Groupthink is a horrible. Excuse the dog. I don't know if you can hear that in the background.
Even the dogs suffering.
But anytime we group and classify a bunch of people without any merit, without any purpose, just specifically to target them, it works in all these ways. And I find it great. I take great offense to those who are making it that we are, put into a bucket just because of the way we vote or because of not necessarily conforming to mainstream society. And it is challenging. But I do have a I guess, a challenge for you, Dave, and that is to shift your mindset. When we start our segments, you often ask me, how I think you should feel, right?
Yeah.
So, but I would encourage you each day just to perhaps say, I appreciate that things are not great. I appreciate I don't like this. I'm not trying to minimize what isn't good in the world. However, if I can shift it to have a bit of a positive spin, what can I do to see the good in a situation? How can I take a challenge and say, well, that helped me to grow stronger in my belief in a particular area, or gain a skill set that I might not have had I not received that challenging news or dealt with that blow. Helping us to shift our mindset can make our days a little bit better. And that's something that I work on too. I mean, I can have really, really rough days, rough nights, wake up in the middle of the night thinking about something that's plaguing me. And if we continue down that path, then it's very sour and negative.
I actually do that. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be doing this show.
Exactly. And so, but that message and that frame will help to ignite a positive fervor instead of this, doom and gloom, which really many of us can feel on a regular basis, especially when we look at the world around us and we see all this negativity, this hostility and violence and just chaos.
But there's really the other end of this. A lot of people who are willingly ignorant of what's going on have taken themselves out, and they're living in sort of a la-la land, and I think they're waiting in such joy that they might get shocked when they find out what's really going on. I mean, I like to know what's going on, and I get up every morning, and I try to do the best I can to be positive, as my wife will tell you, how positive I am. Okay, shut her mic down. But, I was watching... did you ever watch Fiddler on the Roof?
Of course.
All right. I watch it once every 15 years because it's the story of my family, almost exactly. The butcher goes to Chicago. The butcher. He went to Chicago. I could be related to him. From where? From the Ukraine. Isn't that the Ukraine where they're at? Not really Russia?
I don't recall.
Oh, okay. But I cry throughout it, and I can't help myself. I never think I'm going to cry or anything, but it's such a common story for Jews around the world. What, if anything, was God trying to teach us? Are we supposed to go somewhere else besides Israel, or are we supposed to be going to Israel?
I think that according to the tradition, the goal is to ultimately have everyone get to Israel. But if we are in America, then living our best lives and recognizing, our tradition and being good Samaritans and all that, I think is important. Actually, our son is going on a trip to Israel this summer.
Oh, is this a birthright?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, you ought to get a hold of Rabbi Moshe Rothchild, who, besides coming on this show, speaks in America all over the place. He's a tour guide. If he he's probably connected to what your son's going to. He's going to have a tour, right?
Yes. He's going on a teen tour for 4 weeks. So I'm really excited.
So he might be able to give you some ins and outs. So did you find a college for your son?
So it was so interesting to go with our 3 kids who have different personalities and interests and see where they felt most comfortable. And the first one that we toured, 2 of the 3 of them thought was just the best. So I'm curious to see where he ends up, but it was a real exciting time for us to get to, go on that next leg of the parenting journey.
Now, he's an athlete, isn't he?
It's exhausting.
Yeah. He's an athlete, isn't he?
He likes to work out. He's very tall. He's over 6 feet, and he played basketball, but he's not a. So
he's over 6 feet. He takes after his mom, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I love the sport, as we know.
What, basketball? Yes.
I do. I played basketball.
Oh, I thought it was Emma. That's right. You played in high school.
I did. I played varsity.
Yeah.
5'2".
5'2". All right. I'm not that much taller. I'm 5'4". I played football, so what the hell. Anyways, So, what would you advise people? People that just go with the flow seem happy, and yet they don't know anything. They're so ignorant. I mean, they're nice people and all. My son is sort of like that. But when I dig deep down in it, I get ticked off. Is what I am. I want to fight back. I don't think fighting back is a bad idea. I think it's a good thing, and I think God wants us to do that.
I think that we need to stand our ground where appropriate, but we have to choose our battles wisely. If we always go about everything as if it is a battle or the biggest battle, then we lose our stamina, and we might even lose our support by followers who may not necessarily know all of the details, but are going to come and rally with us. It's very challenging if you're in a situation and you know that it's not great, but you choose to be in it. The question is, are you going to just be complacent and deal with it and hope that things get better? Or are you going to try to, rally the troops and make things better, move forward in a way that would make you feel proud or more comfortable or set the stage for a better environment for the future? Yeah. And I think it's just different levels of interest and different places where we are in life. Sometimes we're just going to ride along, wishing that it could be different. And sometimes we're going to have the energy, the stamina, the drive, the reasons to support, really getting in the thick of it and trying to.
It could be dangerous, though. I mean, it's you're going up against the government, basically, and you're going against the grain of, millions of people. Yeah. And yet you have the support of millions of people, too. And I like to think, I give everybody a shot. I just want to hear what they got to say and make a determination whether they're totally nuts or I can put up with one or two things. But there's a lot that I can't. I just can't do that.
Right. But you know your boundaries, right? So you understand where you cannot push any further. That's it.
I think I do. I've never been thrown off of Twitter or Facebook, but I have been shadow banned.
Well, there you go.
I haven't. I know you've been thrown off 10, 15 times, right? Yeah. I've never been. I've been shadow banned. On Twitter, where they take thousands of people. Even my wife has been shadow banned on Twitter.
See, when those things happen, though, that's got to. You're not going to just go in the corner and retreat. That's going to make you propel to fight back even harder. I think.
For me, yes. For others, I'm not so sure. I think it has an effect on people.
It does. It really does. Like I was saying, it depends on where we are in life and what our ultimate goals are. And, if you're in that environment where you can continue to live, earn a living, and have a social life, have your family be safe and all of that, and then promote your agenda, that's beautiful. Some people find that they step back a little bit. And I don't necessarily call it cowardice. I think it could just be practicality, right? We're saying in order to function in society, we need to sometimes, keep our head down.
I watch...
A lot of times I deal with people in the workplace who have a boss who is particularly bullyish. And some of those individuals will fight back, but they know by fighting back, they could lose their job. Others almost duck and try to get out of the line of fire, try to get out of the hot seat. They don't want to be in the hot seat. So they skirt around instead of necessarily going straight forward so that they don't have some of those issues. So again, it really depends. There's so many different factors, and all we can do is look at ourselves and make sure that when we put our head at night on our pillow, that we feel like we've done the best we could for that day.
That's well said.
That's really the key.
That's well said. And I'm trying to think what I do. I'll make suggestions that some people might think go against the grain, but if I believe something is important enough to say that, about, let's say, the hamburger business, drive-thrus, for example. I've always been a bug about drive-thrus, and some of the strategies that in the past I can prove now were really dumb, and I spoke against it, and at the time. This was not popular with management, and it wasn't popular with a lot of the fellow operators who were convinced that management was right and I was wrong. Well, it's it's changed through the years. I've gotten that reputation of being right more than I'm wrong, and yet I know there's some people in top management that don't like me because of that, and I try to get along as best I can. But if you're not going to tell me I'm wrong if I'm not. I will protest and try to do it in such a way that everybody is okay with it. But a lot of them aren't. Their power. If you watch Joe Biden, you see the way he handles being the boss is that he really is going after the people that he is trying to serve. He is blaming America for what's going on, and he's claiming this is not his fault. You see?
Yeah, I mean, we have to take ownership. As a leader, it's our job to take ownership of everything that anyone who's underneath us does. And so, the head of a country, then would need to take responsibility for that. But back to what you were saying, Dave, about, in the business, if you have an idea or, some people who are in upper management don't approve of it, just a simple sentence of, in my experience, I've seen. In my how many years, 30 years,
I do that.
I've seen. If you start any idea or suggestion with that, people have to listen because they will be foolish not to, right? So they might have 45 years experience, who knows? But in your however many years of experience you've seen, that has a heavy weight, and that can definitely give you that clout to at least open the door to share an idea. When I was in the corporate world, right, fresh out of school, I was 25. I had a doctorate, but I looked particularly young, and it was very hard.
Well, you still look particularly young, quite frankly.
It's funny because, yes, now I appreciate it.
Yeah, there you go.
But when I was 25, then I really didn't. I didn't want to be taken less seriously. Because either I was a female or because I was, young. And I was young compared to the room of executives. But I did have ideas that I wanted heard. And I would always talk about my experience. In that case, it was selling those kitchen knives. And I would say, in my experience, I've seen. And that helped them to at least listen to me, despite the fact that they might say, oh, what does she know? And so I think that we have to be able to rely on those things that worked for us and those things that didn't. I appreciate this idea, but in fact, I've seen this not work in someone's favor in this instance.
It's a lot better for me now because, I have a track record. I've ran 2 co-ops in the state of Missouri. I was also the guy that did advertising, was like a senator for advertising. I represented parts of 6 states going to McDonald's. And so, and a lot of the stuff I said, I was ostracized for, and yet people still remember that I got stuff. I actually saved it. It's like the Senate, and some guy comes in and says, "I think you shouldn't have any 47 votes. We're going to get it down to 15 people." Now, what does that say to you? It says we're going to steal all your power. All right. In other words,
I really hope, and I try to not get into the political realm and when talking, but I really hope that for these upcoming elections that things are done differently and that more eyes are on any type of fraudulent efforts. I'm concerned that history will repeat itself.
Oh, it's trying to right now. The final, as you can see, we're still having pandemic stuff happen. We got new diseases. If it's not monkeypox, or actually they're talking about smallpox coming back now, and they got to have something like that to control the population. And if they, I
think a lot of people are already sick of that, though. We want to stay healthy, and we're particularly careful of a lot of that, and we are vaccinated. And
I know
all of that, but
so is Fauci, by the way. And guess what happened to him?
What?
Guess what happened to Fauci? He's got it. Vaccinated about, let's see.
It can definitely still happen.
4 times.
But I think supposedly, it's just like if you get the flu shot, it could be less.
Oh, yeah, I know. And I'm not going to argue that point because I know how you guys feel about that. So I'm going to stay out of that one. Anyways, Speaking of standing out in front, I'd stand in front of a train for you. I would, if it was going backwards. Anyways, other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find and hire you?
So you can find me at cooperstrategicgroup.com, amycooperhakim.com. That's where all of my information about my consulting practices. I also have a book, Working with Difficult People, sold anywhere books are sold. It's also an ebook and audio format, and I'm on every single possible social media outlet: LinkedIn, Twitter,
but
Facebook,
she hates
Instagram.
social
She
media.
loves it.
Isn't Twitter a lot better since Musk got involved?
Do
you notice?
I think I just don't quite understand the power of Twitter yet. I need to take some time to devote to really.
I think it's got a lot more power than.
I hope that people are less censored.
Yeah.
And more free to share, which is one of the beauties of our country.
I do a lot of promotion as you answered my little promotion.
I did. I
and
listened.
thanks for answering because that's important. I want my guests to have as many great book sales or whatever they're doing, get hired or whatever as possible. So I like it when my guests help me a little bit with promoting the show. So thank you so much for that. And by the way,
You're welcome.
I have one more thing, one more bit of advice, and then I'm going to let you have a Shabbat Shalom. Never go with the flow until you know where the waterfalls are. Okay? All right, thank you so much. Oh, my wife liked that. My little wifey liked that. That's sweet. That's all right, great. Doctor, we have another professional coming on the show later from the same house.
Wow.
How about that? Thank you so much for being a star on the Dave Weinbaum Show. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Make sure he's wearing pants. All right? Make sure he's wearing pants. Tell him to shave real quick, for God's sakes. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
So,
yes.
Did you write the train joke for me?
No, actually, I did not.
No?
I was looking for another joke.
Devotion.
I don't like to do the quotes. Never go with the flow until you know where the waterfalls are.
That's a nice picture of her.
Yeah, it's a great picture of her. And put that in there. So yeah, she's a nice person. I like her. And they're nice people.
I wanted to make sure and let everybody know that for convenience, we'll put up links to books where they can buy some of these books or where they can find, like for Dr. Amy, cooperstrategicgroup.com. I'll put it on the screen, but it's also in the comments, and same thing on DaveWeinbaum.net. They're there, so you can just easily click on them. It takes you right to the website. Easy access.
Yeah. So. Okay, good. Great. She and her husband have become really good friends. Now, she started the show. I don't know how I got her. I can't remember how I got Cheryl Chumley. But I've got him. I mean, I remember the rabbi story. I'm not going to do that again. But she started appearing on my show about the same time Cheryl Chumley did. She's almost been on the show about, I would say, about 4 or 5 years. Chumley would be 7 years. So these guys like to be on the show, and they're smart people. And I don't agree with them on everything. They're very pro-vaccine. And as you know, I'm not pro-vaccine because I don't think they know what the hell it is. And it's scary. And we can tie a bunch of deaths, we think, and a bunch of injuries, we think, to the vaccines. And it's not done the same way as the vaccines used to be done. And the result is you have a lot more deaths with these COVID-19 vaccines, which are basically man-made versus a system to where they used actually parts of the disease to make the vaccines back in the old days for the smallpox and for other diseases, the flu. And we're doing okay with it right now. Let's do another set of commercials because at 10 o'clock we've got Chris Adamo coming on, and he's all fired up about what's going on in Washington and elsewhere, and he's all fired up, and he's a very passionate guy about it, and he's written the book Rules for defeating radicals, and that's what we're up against right now. We have a bunch of radicals running this country.
And that title of his book is becoming more and more clear every single day.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, yeah. And the thing Rush said right up until the last sentence was really correct about what the Democrats are trying to do, and they're totalitarian, and, well, they're just going to – they're going to do this, and they're not going to like it when you fight back. No, it's worse than that. See, he didn't contemplate, even back a couple years ago while he was alive, how deadly these people have become. You got 700, 600 people still languishing in D.C. jails. Yep. All right, let's do another.
And don't forget, too, and I don't remember if this was when Trump was running for election the first time or after he first was elected, what he said. They're not after me. They're after you.
Yeah.
I'm just in the way. Let's never forget that either.
That's right. And that's why they hate him so much, because they know that. They know that. They're talking about, it's killing our democracy. What the hell do you think you're doing? I mean, everything they tell you about him overthrowing the government, now they've been doing that for 6 years.
They don't follow the Constitution. They do not represent the people. They're the ones that have violated everything that's called democracy.
And here's the worst thing about it. They know it.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They know they've committed crimes, and now what they're doing is they're doubling down all the time on controlling us all so they don't get arrested and thrown in jail or worse.
They knew if Trump...
And they're saying the things that they're liable for against us.
They knew if Trump got 4 more years, they were toast.
I think so, and they still know that. Yep. This January 6th, they're going to try to indict him on something. Just think about that. 7 years, though. 7 years, and usually you can say you can indict a ham sandwich. Well, they haven't been able to indict Trump on anything. Impeach him, yeah, but every impeachment has led to disaster for them, and now he's probably more popular than ever. When they have a phony impeachment hearing like this one, I mean, he's not even president. They've impeached him twice after he was president. And this is the third impeachment. Okay. Anyways, let's do a commercial right now. We'll come back with more good stuff. Don't touch that dial.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Kent's Jewelry does custom engravings for almost anything. Awards, signs, guns, swords, mugs, yetis, and knives. Kent is the premier custom jeweler in mid-Missouri. We have a great staff, the technology, and equipment to create what you dream for, jewelry and engraving. Kent's Jewelry, 907 North Pine, downtown Rolla, 573-364-1030. That's 573-364-1030. Locally owned. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day.
At Town & Country Bank, we are committed to providing exceptional service to our customers. We do more than just provide loans for our community. We help make dreams become reality. Whether it's a new home, farm, business, or a new car, we would love the opportunity to help. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly lending team remind you how special hometown banking can be. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
And it ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on! Ah! Where's the spirit? Where's the guts? Huh? This could be the greatest night of our lives. But you're gonna let it be the worst. Oh, we're afraid to go with you, Pluto. We might get in trouble. Well, just kick my ass from now on! Not me! I'm not gonna take this! Warner, he's a dead man! Marmalade, dead! Nehemiah, dead! Pluto's right. Psychotic, but absolutely right. We gotta take these bastards. Now, we could fight them with conventional weapons. That could take years and cost millions of lives. No, in this case, I think we have to go all out. I think this situation absolutely requires a really futile and stupid gesture be done on somebody's part. We're just the guys to do it. Let's do it. Let's go!
Okay, we're back. Hope you enjoyed Animal House. It's it's goofy. I don't know how many here have seen Animal House. I mean, I've seen it, and
it's been a minute, but I've seen it years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's stupid and it's funny. But then again, there are certain things, even deluded, drunken people should not have their rights trampled on like they had their rights trampled on without due process.
And it's very timely for apropos for today.
Yeah, and it also teaches us to fight back. You know, I don't know where we're going to get the strength. I don't know how we're going to fight back, but I think we need to, fight back? Don't you? Give me a call, 573-578-2700. In about 10 minutes, we're going to have Chris Adamo. And for him, let's, we haven't done this in a while. Why don't we play a Sicilian moment? Because he is an Italian, although he doesn't look Italian. I don't know what looking Italian means exactly. But he is, he's going to be on the show. So do we have a Sicilian moment?
I have one ready. Yep.
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
I apologize. I thought you meant you wanted to play for him whenever he came on the air. So
nah.
Okay, so here we go.
He doesn't rate that much. Come on.
No, true. Yeah.
Give me a break. Forget about it. It's okay to have bated breath as long as you don't swim with the sharks. Forget about it. If you're swimming with the sharks, baby, something might have just happened to you because you might have been on a boat and somebody might have thrown you overboard. Of course, probably in most cases, the way it works is you're sent down standing in cement. So you go all the way to the bottom and the sharks have a pretty good shot at you there. So, don't forget about it. Don't get yourself in that position. Be an honest guy. Be an honest Joe. Don't be a rat. Don't talk to the FBI, all right? You forget about that. And the other thing you won't have to forget about.
Bad things can happen to you.
Yeah, bad things. This is like, the FBI is like, they're doing it like they're the mafia. They can do anything they want to, and that's their attitude. Yeah, we'll do whatever we want to because we can.
Make you a deal you can't refuse.
That's
Literally,
right.
you can't refuse it. Yep.
Exactly what they're doing with the 1-6 people. They're offering them deals. And for the ones that don't do the deals are being held against due process without trial, without a speedy trial. We have a right to a speedy trial too, don't we?
Yep, supposed to. And that's why I'm glad Jeff Zink made the stand that him and his son are not going to accept the plea deal.
Yeah.
Which would also create a gag order where they can't talk about it because they want everything to be discovered because they have nothing and they know it.
Sure.
So I'm glad they're making that stand.
Sure. So am I. And I wish him all the good luck possible since he told me that the apparatus of the GOP has not really come across with anything to support him. And it sounds like he'd almost have a pretty easy guy to get that with. Why am I on Facebook? I guess I'm on Facebook for a reason.
I'm getting stuff set up for our next guest so that I can make sure and show on the screen what they want me to show. So I'm doing the background producer work.
I was getting ready to move it and turn it to my page. Yeah. A lot of you probably are listening to this on Dave Weinbaum show page on Facebook. How many are doing that? All right, can you give me an idea? How many are listening to this via Twitter? I get a lot of my support is from Twitter, and lately I've been on all these trains where sometimes at the top of these trains on Twitter. I'm kind of big on Twitter, and I say a lot of stuff that's provocative. But to Amy's point, I'm very careful about what I say. I'm almost like a lawyer, per se, in handling it. And, Twitter don't like me, and the people that are woke there don't like me, I've been told. But now I haven't had a problem with Twitter since Elon Musk came into the picture. So I wonder if anybody else has had any problems with him. Here, let's see what my memory is from 4 years ago.
Oh, wait, let me go back.
Yeah, go back. Okay, because I'm finding a bunch of these things now. My memories, make a statement. The most important inheritance you can leave your children is the example you set in life. Dave Weinbaum, happy Father's Day. Great. Thank you so much, because it is Father's Day coming up, kids. And I don't know if your father, what he'd like or anything, but they might have some really neat gifts over at Kent's Jewelry. You know, you can get stuff engraved there. You can get guns engraved. You can get knives engraved. Okay? That would be a terrific gift for your old man, or even like these Yetis. You know, probably engrave those too. So yeah, even moms and kids for father, that would be a great place to go. I'm glad I showed that. Thank you for putting it on my Facebook page. Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's play a couple clips. Let's do 7 and 8, please.
But red flag laws will end this. Under red flag laws, the government doesn't have to prove you did anything wrong in order to strip you of your most basic rights. All that's required to punish you is a complaint, possibly even an anonymous complaint, in which somebody says you seem dangerous. Now, that complaint doesn't come from a grand jury. It can come from anyone, including someone who hates you or someone who simply doesn't like your politics. It doesn't matter, because no jury will ever see it. On the basis of that unproven complaint, you lose your freedom and your ability to defend yourself and your family. Now, how could that possibly happen in this country? Well, the Supreme Court has said unequivocally that it can't happen here. A year ago, the Supreme Court ruled in a case called Caniglia versus Strom. Police in Rhode Island had seized the personal firearms of a 68-year-old man whose wife had called in a complaint against him after they had an argument. That man had committed no crime. He'd never been convicted of a crime, and he was judged by doctors to be sane. And yet the authorities took away his guns anyway. He sued under the Fourth Amendment, and the case went all the way to the Supreme Court. The result was not even close. The Supreme Court sided with the gun owner in that case in a rare 9-0 decision. That means that every justice, liberal and conservative, agreed that authorities cannot just seize your property or throw you in jail because they don't like the way you look or because someone is mad at you. So red flag laws are unconstitutional, period. We don't need to guess about that. And yet the Biden administration is pushing them anyway. Why? Because they don't care. How is Joe Biden able to ignore a Supreme Court decision from last year? Simple. He declares an emergency and does what he wants. He's done it before. The White House did the same thing with the eviction moratorium and vaccine mandates last year. It's an emergency. We don't have time for due process. So you can see why Democrats love emergencies. Nothing gives them more power more quickly.
And our last strain of COVID-19 will be communism. Trust me on that. I see some more messages up here from Andrea Shrum. We have the arm of the Lord and the host of heaven's angel armies on our side. Some trust in chariots, some in horses, but we will trust in the name of the Lord our God. Wow. I didn't realize I'd be watching you on Facebook. Oh, thank you for your shoe. Okay. Did she mean show or shoe?
I think she meant show.
I've got a great shoe. Yep. I have two of them, actually, I'm wearing. So, yeah, thank you. Okay. And one thing, she has another thing up there. Oh, this is about vaccines, I think. Yes. If they didn't die, many developed either new diseases or an exacerbation of diseases already present, particularly autoimmune diseases. Wow, I'm getting a lot of stuff from Andrea. Thank you, Andrea. Appreciate that.
Yep, and of course, there was a recent article, I think I sent it to you and a few others, that now they're even saying that there's some, I think it was heart issues or heart inflammation issues that's been linked to, was it the Moderna vaccine or Pfizer? I'm trying to remember which one.
I think it was Moderna.
It may have been, yeah.
And guess what Dave O'Reilly took?
Moderna?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, there you go.
About a year and a half ago. And I didn't know. I didn't know he got the shot.
There's somebody that goes to our church that's I'd say he's in his 60s, and he had to have a surgery, but they tested his heart, said your heart's in great shape. It's one of the best hearts I've seen, especially for somebody at your age. He had his surgery and then AFib'd, almost died on him. They had to bring him back, and they said, we don't get this. Your heart's fine. What caused this? Well, come to find out later, he had the vaccine.
No kidding.
So we're just trying to figure all this out. Very interesting.
Well, if you look at the VAERS report, you can go to, and you could say, well, with the VAERS report, well, it's done by the CDC. That is the Biden administration, by the way, and the Health Corps and stuff like that. I mean, there's another one. What is the other health organization?
World Health Organization?
Yeah,
you mean,
no, with the FHA, Federal Health Authority.
Yep.
Yeah, so they kind of sponsor this, and so it's part of the Biden administration. And if you are one of those that, like my doctors, well, I only read the New England Journal of Medicine, and so I went and looked on the New England Journal of Medicine, and I typed in VAERS report, VAER report, or you can add an S on it, and I found it in the New England Journal of Medicine, where apparently my doctor doesn't have the talent or ability to find that because he didn't know anything about it. So look at it, and you'll see the amazing amount of data they have comparing how many people died from these vaccines versus all the vaccines they ever created over 31 years. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a man looking at us right now, and how come we have a better picture of him than me? We got to do something with this. Okay, I mean this is just insulting that he looks better than me. Very insulting. Anyways, this is an Italian escapee from the Witness Protection Program in Wyoming. Now in Missouri, just to irritate me, he's the author of Rules for Defeating Radicals. He is star of TV and radio. Please welcome. I think he's from Missouri now, maybe from who knows where. He could be from Sicily for all I know. Please welcome Chris Adamo. Good morning, Chris. I know you're all fired up and everything. I can always see.
Oh, boy,
you.
am I.
Good
morning.
What are you so fired up about?
My grandparents were from Sicily.
What's that?
My grandparents were from Sicily, but
really?
I'm here from northwestern Missouri. I'm going to come visit you one of these days. Maybe you'll let me in the studio. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we will. I don't know. How come we can't? Oh, there it is. There's the book. Yeah, we're holding your book up right now.
Oh, there it is. Okay,
Yeah.
Everybody have a look at this. I'll tell you, it's more important than ever.
Yeah.
I got lots to talk about.
Oh, sure. So what's bothering? I can start an interview and end an interview by saying, what's bothering you, Chris?
Well, let me, first of all, since you mentioned Wyoming, I want to tell you about something I thought you'd find interesting. Of course, Wyoming, low population state, you get to know people there. I've got good connections within the state legislature, et cetera, and I've got a good authority that Liz Cheney is literally not campaigning in Wyoming. She's had one event so far, and it was a ticketed event, which means what you do is you charge a bunch of money to people, and therefore only the really loyal ones that want to pay you a bunch of money will show up at the event. That way she makes sure that the real people of Wyoming don't get there because she knows that they'd run her out on a rail. And so she's not even campaigning in Wyoming.
Okay, so at one point I heard that she was going to run for president.
Well, back when, and I'm afraid, sad to say that even Rush Limbaugh was taken in by her because, like all rhinos, she knows how to talk when the occasion arises, and yet she's shown her true feelings here. They all do at crunch time, but she's not campaigning. She's doing exactly what Joe Biden, what his handlers had him doing, because all he was doing is sitting there and repeating whatever was in the earpiece. But they had him campaigning out of a basement. And, and he wasn't showing up anywhere. And on the same basis that they did that, knowing that they were going to cheat their way into the White House, which they successfully did, she has every plan at this point, even though she's not campaigning. She won't show her face in Wyoming because, like I said, she would get such hostility if she ever did. But she has plans to cheat the election. And the Wyoming primary system is set up in such a way by a bunch of longstanding rhinos in the legislature that she may get away with this, and that's her plan.
I see. So there are going to be Democrats involved in this too, right?
Oh, absolutely. You have about literally 80% of the state is registered Republican, but primaries, during the primary, you can cross over going into the voting place. You can cross over and re-register as a Republican. Go vote for Liz Cheney, come back out right there at the same place. You re-register as a Democrat, and you go home. And if she was to get that 20% of the Democrats doing that on primary day, plus 10% of the rhinos that are registered Republicans, she'd have 30% of the vote. Well, if you have a split field among several candidates running against her, she can win with that. That's what she's counting on. This is how they operate. This is how the left operates. And make no mistake about it, rhinos are every bit as left as are the Democrats.
Well, they're at least the Democrats. Some of them they're worse. Some of them are actually honest about being liberals.
Right. The rhinos are liars about who they are on top of everything else. You're absolutely correct.
So what is the American dream, and why don't Marxists want us to have it?
Well, it all comes down to control. The American dream, the middle class. Why do the Marxists hate the middle class? Because the middle class are people that are functional enough in their daily lives. They're making enough of a paycheck. They have enough going on in their home. They are functional enough to where they can ascend. They can continue to improve their lives. They can, buy an RV. They can go buy that second home at the beach eventually, and things like this. And in the process, if you're functioning on that level, your attitude towards the government is leave me alone. I don't want this nonsense in my life. I can do this myself, and I can go to church. And if I have needs, I'll go call upon the Lord for it. I don't need the Democrats to help me out. Well, when you as a politician, as a Marxist ideologue, when your goal in life is to maximize your control over people, that's the biggest enemy you can face is a functioning middle class. So of course the leftists always destroy the middle class.
Why don't they see that as overbearing and evil?
Because they are evil.
I want to be a socialist. That means I've got to control people. I mean, isn't it obvious that is evil?
Well, it is eventually. I can show you stories. My wife had a great book from a young Christian lady out of China, and she talked about the whole cycle that she went through when the communists took over in the late 40s. And how she and other people, they were so idealistic because this sounded so virtuous. When you think about, if you're really narrow-minded and naive and you hear Marx's from each according to his means, to each according to his needs, it sounds so utopian. We're all just going to share and we're all going to be happy. Sorry, I'm bumping my microphone here. I'm so Italian, waving my hands mad. Anyway.
Hey, forget about it.
And they do that. And on that basis, they get into power, and you find out that there's this little elitist group that decides who can have what and who needs what, and so it's stolen on the basis that they see fit that you have too much, and handed out to whoever they see fit. Well, ultimately, it's handed out to themselves, because in the worst Marxist regimes where you have people starving in the streets, your leadership invariably is living in relative ease, and they've got that control, and they have this lust for power, this lust for being in a position to tell others how to live because they think they can do it better. And so the fact that they make a total mess wherever they live and wherever they grow doesn't seem to ever dawn on the leadership. It dawns on people like this Christian woman
they don't know
in China
what they're doing
eventually, but by the time it dawned on her, Mao's in power and she can't do anything about it.
But okay, Mao, he didn't know what he was doing. Castro, they knew what they were doing, right?
But he's getting the benefits of it. Let me tell you a little story about Mao, that just to give you a little inkling of where these people's minds are at. And if you listen to this, you will hear shades of Hillary. You'll hear shades of Kamala Harris, of Nancy Pelosi in this. Here's what Mao had happened. Okay, he had this constant string of young Chinese women, single women, being brought to him so he could have sex with them. Mm-hmm. Okay. Somewhere in the process, he ends up getting gonorrhea. Okay. And he's passing it along to each subsequent one that they bring into him after that. And they came to him, they said, look, you've got gonorrhea. We can give you a little bit of penicillin. We can fix this. And his response to that was, it's not bothering me. And to him at that point, it doesn't matter what it did to those, that chattel that was brought into him. They were just something to be used. Yeah. It didn't bother him. Remember Hillary saying, what difference does it make? Yeah. So these people are dead. What difference does it make? What difference does it make to her? Right. This is how leftists operate.
So to fight them, you have to get their attention. How do you get their attention?
Well, the first thing you've got to do is mobilize the people. Again, going back to that
See,
young
I don't even
Chinese
have to look
girl.
at questions to talk to you because these are popping into my head.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
So that young Chinese girl, the thing that needed to happen, unfortunately, it didn't happen until it was too late. The first thing you've got to do is get the truth out there to the people. You've got to get the people on Main Street who right now they're upset about high gas prices, but they're hearing on CNN that it's really Trump's fault and this kind of nonsense. You've got to get them to understand, here's what's happening to you, here's what's happening to your country and why. Because until we do that, they'll look around and okay, gas prices are high, but Joe Biden is going to come through and do something great and help me out or give me some sort of subsidy. They'll run to whatever that seems easiest. So the first thing we got to do is start telling the truth about what's going on and why. And that brings us back to this whole January 6th commission.
Yeah.
Now, on the one hand, I'm sure, like myself, you've been wanting to throw things at the TV every time you see these people start to speak because they are so venomous. They are so toxic. But the flip side of that is the fact that they're conducting this commission now and the fact that what they're demanding from everybody they bring in front of them, they're demanding an oath of loyalty to the Biden cabal.
Yeah.
You guys have to come up here and you have to admit that he's the legitimate president.
Right.
Now tell me something. Would they be doing that if it was widely understood that he was legitimate, if it was just everybody accepted it? Would they be that emphatic that you and everybody else have to go up there and make that profession? They're showing their desperation and their weakness. They're showing a vulnerability right now. They know that they are like the cover of my book there. They are a house of cards that could easily collapse. Is he going to put it up there? Thank you, sir. See the background there? It's a house of cards.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
they have this huge construct that will empower them. And if we go at it and we knock one at the bottom like this, and just the mention of the truth has that effect on it, it will collapse. And so they're literally everything you see of their venom and their fervency as they're confronting these witnesses and demanding these witnesses, come on, you get up here and tell us if you think the election was stolen. But every bit of that is showing just how vulnerable and how fragile their position is. Now,
well,
granted, every
that.
witness that goes along with them.
I wonder this, Chris. You've got this hearing. In 200 years, we have never had a hearing where the leader of the other party didn't get to pick people to put on the panel.
Oh,
okay, yeah. And what I'm looking at as judges and lawyers, what the hell's that?
That was a motorcycle racing past my house. Sorry.
Okay. Damn liberal, stop it.
Yeah.
Liz Cheney was going by. See, she knows about you.
No.
But anyways,
she has one of those little scooters. But anyway, go ahead.
Lawyers and judges, they have an appellate judge up there testifying. What do these guys not understand about the fact they're testifying in an unconstitutional hearing? There is no First Amendment right, and there's no 14th Amendment right to due process. Why would they
remember
do that?
The Constitution is nothing but ink on a piece of parchment.
This is a judge, though. These are people that have sworn to be bound.
Yeah.
By the Constitution.
And an oath is just words unless you actually uphold it. My point being that the corruption will not abate on its own. The corruption will not one day fix itself. These people don't wake up and they go, we're a bunch of jerks. We need to start being nice people. They don't operate that way. Okay, these things won't be dealt with on their own until we confront them. Step one, confronting them, and I always go back to this because our side. Still, when I say our side, I'm talking about the real grassroots conservatives. We still have a problem understanding that we've got to steadfastly speak the truth. We've got to stay fixed on that. We cannot. I talked to a guy, I'm not going to go into details, but this guy is aspiring for high office, and he's talking about several points on the whole gun control thing. And it's like, is there anything that we can reach across to the left to work with them for gun safety? And I said, no, because they're not about gun safety.
Right.
They're never about what they say they're about. It's always about their agenda. So you start with that premise. You don't work with them, and you start saying, okay, what are they really up to every step of the way?
Yeah,
and until
exactly.
we approach it that way, and start that's mean-spirited. That's what do they call it? It's divisive. This is
Sure.
You're not reaching across the aisle.
You
You're
don't care.
darn right I'm not reaching
You
across
don't
the
care
aisle.
about little children. That's Cronin. Or you're just being political. That's Cronin, the guy who's leading this measure, a Republican.
Yeah.
And he's got 9 other Republicans agreeing with him.
Right.
And
Mitch McConnell and Mitt Romney, of course, and then like you said, John Cornyn of Texas.
This is huge. This is due process. They're getting rid of due process.
They absolutely will. And again, it will only change if we the people decide we've had enough, we're going to change it. But here's the thing to always remember is the more emphatic they are about these things, the more desperate and cornered they're feeling. Right now, when you saw, and I'm sure you're going to bring this up here. Oh gosh, I got her name somewhere. The young lady down in Texas in that overwhelmingly
that was my next
Hispanic
question.
District,
Texas,
and, she won.
Mayra Flores.
Yeah, that's her.
And she defeated an incumbent
Flores,
Democrat, and it was like the first flipping of that particular. I think it was number 34 was the district. She
Texas
flipped
34.
It.
You're absolutely right.
And it was like over 150 years ago.
Yep.
This is huge.
Let me just give you a scenario, and this is going to sound like something from Babylon B, but there's a lot of legitimacy to it. If she's the beginning of a major pattern and you start seeing major movements among the Mexican Americans, that they start voting Republican, which they should do if they're smart. They realize, we came to the land of opportunity, illegally or otherwise. It'll only be the land of opportunity if the Republicans stay in power.
I think Trump got a shocking amount of them. In 2016, and I think he has added to that. And
Absolutely.
I think what they're doing at the border, the Latinos don't like this. They're pissed.
And you watch, if this is part of a bigger pattern,
I think
you're suddenly going to see Democrats putting everything into building the wall. And you know what will happen then? This is the part where I'll start popping corks and screaming at the TV. What will happen then is the Mitch McConnells will come out and say, well, good, we can work with them. We always knew they wanted to do the right thing.
Yeah, right.
And then we'll be labeled as the bigots, and we'll be apologizing.
That's all right. So, we'll stay and fight.
But yeah, this is how these things operate. Every one of these situations, we are in a winnable position if we tell the truth. And here's the tough part: if we stick with it. And I'll give you an example of somebody who saw the easy way out and decided to do what he thought was expedient for the moment and has destroyed his political career, and that's Mike Pence. Because Mike Pence on January 6th had the option to say, I refuse to certify this election. Now, I'll be honest with you, that wouldn't have stopped anything. He wasn't going to single-handedly overturn an election, but he could have refused to rubber stamp the theft.
Yeah.
Well,
he didn't know what happened. Like he didn't know what happened.
Right.
And he had no idea that election was probably stolen. You didn't have the actual. I agree. You didn't have the absolute.
Probably. We know exactly what happened.
We know what happened now, though, for sure.
Yeah, he knew it. We had plenty of evidence at the time. I just saw this morning a list of things like Pennsylvania where they close the doors and then 600,000 votes come out for Biden, things like this. We know the election was stolen. If Mike Pence had refused, now he would have been castigated by the left-wing media for doing that. He'd be one of the witnesses up on this January 6th panel now, and having to profess his loyalty. And again, in his mind, he did the expedient thing. He avoided all that, and he's a good mainstream Republican.
All these guys have their own little things they want to do, like Liz Cheney. He wants to be president someday.
Well, I'll tell you something. Mike Pence, he's a goner. I agree. He's a total has-been because, number one, we, patriotic Americans, we know we can't trust him. We have no use for somebody who's that much of a turncoat. But tell me this, did he actually ingratiate himself to the left? Now, they bring him up and they call him out as,
they'll
he's
drop
one of their witnesses.
What's he going to do with the left? He's not going to do anything.
They like him?
What is Liz Cheney going to do with the left?
Yeah.
They don't care about her.
And again, Liz Cheney's thing, I'm convinced that the fact that she stayed in the race this long, she intends to cheat her way past the Wyoming primary.
Well, I don't doubt this. All right, I'm coming up.
Going on in Wyoming.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lots of stuff going on in Wyoming, by the way. There's a movement of grassroots conservatives in Wyoming that are taking on the rhinos in the legislature, and literally about 20% of the Wyoming legislature Republican incumbents at this point have refused to run this cycle because they know they're going to get booted by real conservatives.
Well, that's something we'll discuss at a later time, and I want to thank you for being on the show. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find and buy your book?
Well, they can find it at Amazon. Just go there, and you can either do a search on Rules for Defeating Radicals or on my name, Christopher Adamo, and that's where it's at. And I'm up on several websites: GOP USA, NOQ Report, and Red Voice America, or Red Voice Media. Red Voice Media.
Yeah, I saw somewhere where you're on the FBI. Board too.
If I'm not doing my job right.
Yeah, there you go. A picture in the post office is worth 1,000 subpoenas. Let's put it that way. What do you call an offensive lineman at the mall?
An offensive lineman at the mall, a shopper.
A shopping center. Oh, he's laughing. Oh, my God. You've never laughed at one of my jokes.
I'm recoiling.
Recoiling? But you smiled and you acted like you laughed.
I don't know.
I'm going to take that as a laugh from you because, you know what, you're a hard audience.
Oh, I laugh a lot. When you tell good jokes, I laugh.
When? After the show? I've never seen you laugh before.
And there's no Lisa here to...
Exactly, Dave. Hey, where is everybody, by the way?
Well, Lisa had to go. We're going away on a trip, and so she had to go take care of some details. And Henderson works from home now. I think Henderson's going to run the show next week, though. Maybe the next
Not next
two
week,
shows.
the week after, yeah.
Oh, the week after, right?
Yep.
Right. So we're doing some summer stuff, I guess.
Well, that's wonderful. Have a great time.
Yeah. Well, you have a great weekend, and thank you for laughing at my joke.
That just made Dave's weekend right there.
I know. Well, you're a tough audience, and you always interrupt me. I didn't give you a chance to interrupt me. Okay, thanks a lot, Chris.
God bless you.
God
guys.
bless.
Just keep up the great work. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye. Okay, he's a big supporter on Twitter, too. Okay, let's do another set of commercials because I'm going to be missing MIA from the show next week. And, I've done this before, too. I don't think you have to make them up. I know we didn't do it when I worked at the radio station. People took vacations. They just ran what they normally do. It's almost taken for granted, but I just assumed they get the benefit of the commercials. So let's go ahead and hit it.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Kent's Jewelry does custom engravings for almost anything. Awards, signs, guns, swords, mugs, Yetis, and knives. Kent is the premier custom jeweler in mid-Missouri. We have a great staff, the technology, and equipment to create what you dream for, jewelry and engraving. Kent's Jewelry, 907 North Pine, downtown Rolla, 573-364-1030. That's 573-364-1030. Locally owned. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping, too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I love America. It's an amazing place. And do you know what I've come to realize, right? Americans, you basically do everything that we do, but you do it bigger and you do it better. Like, we have stupid people here. But your stupid people are world class. And that is not me saying, oh, all Americans are stupid. No, America also has the smartest people on the planet. What I'm saying is that when America does stupid, you do stupid. Like, our village idiot is in a park shouting at clouds. Yours is president.
Recording me makes you feel safer, that's fine. I support you in doing that. But here's what's going to happen next. You're going to do me a favor, and I'm going to do you a favor so we can both go on about our day.
What favor can I do for you?
You're going to slow it down when passing through here. We got a lot of traffic. I'm going to rip that Biden-Harris bumper sticker off the back of your car so people don't think you're an idiot.
Okay, we're back on the show. In about a minute and a half, we're going to have Elad Hakim come on, and I know he'll be on time because his wife will make him. You know, no doubt about it. I just hope he has pants on or something, you know. So the Democrats all seem to be, well, they're abandoning Joe, even AOC, and he's doing all the work of the progressives. I mean, nobody thought he was serious about him shutting down our oil industry, and now that it's causing all this havoc, really, and that is the basis for all the economic problems, is what we pay for oil, because everything is affected by it. Now that that's happening, everyone is starting to abandon him, even the squids or the squad, so. And you look at Joe, and now he is being dissed by the mainstream media and by a lot of the Dems. And I find that to be pretty interesting, how quickly they will abandon one of their own. And he's doing exactly what they want him to do. So how can they blame him for it? It's incredible. Anyways, who's next to be presidential nominee? Is it going to be Buttigieg? Can you imagine that guy being president? Buttigieg? He's going to have to stop and maybe give whatever child they have at the moment, a baby, some baby formula, if he can find it. Okay, you can't find baby formula. That's so serious. What woman is going to vote for any of these jerks? How about Gavin Newsom, who has ruined California, and sponsor people like Gaston, who's probably on his way out, along with Bodine in San Francisco. The DAs from a gift from our magnificent Soros, and I see a picture of a guy. I see a picture. I don't know if he's shaved or not. I don't know whether he's wearing pants. I don't really care as long as we have the camera up above a certain level. Anyways, let's play his song. Powerful South Florida attorney, expert on law and politics, political pundit for the Federalist, Washington Examiner, Rumble, star of radio and TV. Please welcome the Perry Mason to the Dave Weinbaum Show, who got his start on the Dave Weinbaum Show, Elad Hakim. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. I see what you're thinking. Did he have to mention that? All right. So lots of terror for our SCOTUS attempted murder. Our SCOTUS judges, I should say, attempted murder of Kavanaugh. The threat to Barrett and her family. She's got 7 kids or so. Your thoughts on Roe v. Wade decision? What's going to happen? Are they going to chicken out and vote to retain Roe v. Wade, even though they had this memo come out that probably they were going to kick it out?
Well, your guess is as good as mine.
No, it isn't. You're a lawyer. You know these things.
I'm a lawyer. I wish I knew how the Supreme Court would actually rule.
We'll give an opinion.
Listen, I don't think they're going to chicken out. But again, I'm just guessing. I don't know. I mean, there are reasons. There are reasons why either would happen. First, obviously the threats, the intimidation would be a reason why they would potentially revise the opinion that was leaked. On the other hand, there's the position that, hey, if that's all it takes to compel the Supreme Court to change its opinion, that sets a pretty bad precedent. That anytime an opinion potentially comes out that the Democrats necessarily don't agree with, all they have to do is resort to these types of tactics to change their sway opinion. So
that's kind of the idea, isn't it? It's kind of the idea, isn't it? It's kind of the idea as Democrats to control the Supreme Court. They're going to threaten the judges, and they're going to if Roe v. Wade happens, they're going to punish these judges. Schumer already said it. We're going to punish you, and he named names. Gorsuch and Kavanaugh.
Schumer was more than just saying we're going to punish you. I mean, there are many who are construing Schumer's comments as being calls for violence against the justices. So, listen, I don't think they're going to change the opinion. I'm just guessing, but it would take a judge or two to change the position, and but we'll see. We'll see soon enough. I mean, I don't remember when the term.
I thought it was supposed to be like yesterday when they were going to come out with it. They're probably going to come out on Friday.
We'll get the opinion soon. I mean, Monday's a holiday, so from what I understand, Tuesday and Thursday are going to be opinion release days next week. So we'll see.
Okay.
A lot of big cases still due.
Let's talk about the 1-6 one. Then we'll talk about the case. Let's talk about the 1-6 committee. Now, this is not a righteous hearing, don't you?
So, I am just now sitting down and writing an opinion piece about this. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the first impeachment hearing. Remember the Democrats had their resolution, and the resolution basically said about how the hearing was supposed to be held. When they first started the investigation, and they left it up to the head guy of the committee in the House who was investigating. And who was that? Well, I can't remember if it was
Schiff or Nadler. Schiff or Nadler?
I can't remember which one it was. But he had the discretion to allow all the testimony, who was going to testify. People in the committee had to ask his permission. This is the same thing. You can't take it seriously because it's so one-sided.
Well, wait. Didn't on the committees to originally do the first impeachment, didn't they have to give a couple of committee members the right to ask questions and things like that? See, they don't have that right now.
No, they don't have that right. And not only, but they picked who was allowed to testify. So, if Republicans wanted to ask, for example, the first impeachment, if they wanted to call a witness or subpoena somebody, they needed the permission of the head guy there. Here, in this committee, the January 6th committee, there's no right to cross-examine. They can't pick up anybody. The Republicans on the committee are two Trump haters who voted to impeach Trump. Pelosi didn't allow Jim Jordan to serve on the committee. So, it's very similar. It's somehow convenient for them that whenever the Democrats, quote unquote, investigate anything, Republicans are always shut out. So it's not a truth-seeking mission. It's an agenda. It's an agenda to create a crime, a potential crime, like it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was, against Trump.
Yeah, it's a coup. They were having a coup since Trump came down the escalator in 2015. That's when it all started. That's when the campaign started to be investigated. And it's been a coup. And I believe they're doubling down frantically right now because if things change in the 22 elections, you're going to see a ton of people have to testify that and knowingly know that they are guilty of or at least a part of a conspiracy to get rid of that government under Trump. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope, you can never tell with some of these Republicans, unfortunately.
True.
I would hope that they investigate where, if power changes and if Republicans take control, you would certainly hope that they would investigate some of these things. I'm not sure what they're going to do with January 6th, but I'm sure they're going to investigate, the Bidens and the Hunter Biden issue. But you can never tell. Republicans are not like Democrats. Republicans splinter sometimes. Democrats, short of one or two of them, they're like a well-oiled machine.
We're going to need a bigger jail. That's all I got to say. We just need a bigger jail.
You hope so. You hope so.
Now
not if you file suit. Not if you file suit in D.C.
Well, there's no jail room right now because all the people from the 1-6 event are now still in jail. There's no jail room there. They have to build another jail. Anyways, I wanted to ask you that if you were asked to be a witness on there, not subpoenaed, but asked to be a witness, fully knowing that there is no due process in this and that there's no cross-examination, there's no real Republican representation. If you were, well, we know you're a lawyer, but let's assume that you became a judge, let's say an appellate judge. Would you testify willingly in front of a committee like this?
I wouldn't. I mean, not if I...
What would you think? What would you think of an appellate judge who cooperates with this knowingly that this is not a proper hearing where you have due process, and all these attorneys out there who are speaking up knowing that they're not going to get cross-examined and nobody's going to appear in defense of what they're condemning, which is Donald Trump?
Yeah, listen, I would never testify. I mean, not unless I was subpoenaed, and then I would probably challenge it.
Yeah.
They're looking to speak with Justice Thomas's wife now.
Yes.
Why would she appear?
Why do you think?
I don't know. I wouldn't agree to it unless I was compelled to come. I mean, unless I'm subpoenaed, I wouldn't agree. They're looking to. They're looking to. It's not like she was a member of government or had any involvement, other than a citizen speaking about the right to protest the elections of the results of the election.
Well, I'll tell you why. They're trying to impeach Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, well, they're trying to impeach or to recuse him of certain types of cases.
I don't see him going anywhere, quite frankly. I hope.
I would not. I mean, they're basically looking now, and it's clear they're looking to get to the private email exchanges and scrutinize of public individuals.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absurd. And interestingly, what's his name? Alan
Dershowitz.
Alan Dershowitz. Thanks.
You're welcome.
He came out and said, so far there's no crime committed by Trump.
Right. That's what I hear. There's no crime. So what we have here is a political exercise. They're going to try to indict him on something. It's been almost 7 years now, really, if you consider 2015 the starting point. The old saying is that you can indict a ham sandwich. And they got all these years. This guy's been in business forever. And, there's stuff that happens that sometimes could be irregular and this, that. They can't pin him with anything. And they're still trying to do it. They're still trying to do it.
Bring that up. I was on LinkedIn yesterday, and somebody, I responded to some Democrat coalition thing, I think, and somebody brought up indictments. Trump is a criminal, and I asked. I said, "Listen," I said, "Where has he ever been charged or convicted of anything?" And the guy brings up, "Well, are you kidding me? They settled. They paid $750,000 for an emolument clause violation." And I said, "Well, who were the defendants there?" I said, "Was he named personally?"
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was the Trump committee and this and that. And the guy got all upset. And at the end of the day, you're 100% right. They have tried forever since. What do they want from this guy? Forever to pin a crime on him. They've been unsuccessful. They're terrified of him. And, there's a lot of people. It's interesting, Dave, because there's a lot of people who are pushing, DeSantis. DeSantis is a mini Trump. I mean, that's what he is. He's a sort of a more refined version of Trump.
Right.
But I'll tell you what.
I'd like to see them together, personally.
If Trump runs, Trump has got my vote.
Yeah.
Do
you think DeSantis would be interested in being a VP?
I don't think he would be interested in being a VP. I think that.
Well, I don't think so either. But I think that might be a gateway to him being the president.
I think he's going to have to. I would certainly hope that he doesn't challenge Trump. I would be shocked, but no, I don't think he would be willing to serve as VP. I think that he's successful enough now on his own 2 feet where he'd want to be. He doesn't want to be second fiddle. He would be, run for president. But I don't know if there's any reason for him not to wait. Let him wait. Unless Trump can't run.
Speaking of second fiddle, what are your thoughts on the future of Mike Pence?
Yeah, I think he's. I don't think he's got much of a shot.
I think he's toast now. He screwed himself
because he lost the Trump voters.
Yeah, exactly. We were just talking about that with Chris Adamo. That's what he thinks too.
The Trump voters will never vote for Pence.
Oh, not
whether
now.
Or not his decision was sound, and whether or not his decision was legally correct, they're never going to vote for him. And you cannot, without the Trump voters, you're not going anywhere.
So let's talk a little bit about the San Francisco DA. Baudin is out, and how about LA's Gaston? Are all these Soros district attorneys, are they all in trouble?
Well, I don't know. I mean, let me ask you. I mean, would you want to live, no matter how liberal you are, you want to live in a state where crime is going up because your prosecutor won't prosecute?
Well, gee, let me think about that. No, I need to study that issue, you see, because I'm not sure right off. Of course I wouldn't want to be there. I mean, I'm from Chicago. I get this. Okay, I get what's going on.
Listen, there's a basic fundamental concept. Everything is easy, right? Unless it affects you. So you can make all these hunky-dory woke decisions until they actually come back and bite you in the butt. So, if you want to promote loosey-goosey prosecutors, that's great until they come to a city near you, all right? And then you have crime running rampant because prosecutors aren't doing their jobs or they refuse to prosecute criminals.
Well, here's the here's the problem. The problem is that there was never a problem when you had a location where you knew where all the crime was kind of inside that area. And you lived outside the area, you could vote for this kind of crap. You could vote for DAs that would let people out of jail because they'd only go back to their own neighborhoods and continue doing these crimes, you see? But that thing is broken wide open now because now they're going where? They're going to Bel Air and they're going to all sorts of amazing places, Beverly Hills, and they're looting these places and they're committing crimes. One guy was a famous black guy and his wife. He was a famous actor or whatever. They were in their 80s, and some guy came in the house and killed the wife, and they voted for this DA. They voted for him in L.A. Okay, so now now that it's coming out to their neighborhoods, all of a sudden, that's why you're seeing the blowback.
And interestingly, you raise good points. And interestingly, it can't be viewed in a vacuum. I mean, this is all of these policies that Biden is implementing and encouraging go together. Yes, they're all going to different places now. They're not limited to certain areas, but they're also being, we also have illegal immigrants being shipped to different cities throughout the country.
Yeah.
And it's these soft on crime, against anti-police, open border. They all work together. And that's why crime is, anti-Second Amendment. That's why crime is through the roof now.
Sure.
Biden has got his living in the White House. So what does he care? You know what I mean? He's fine.
Yeah, he's living in the basement in Delaware. Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man. It's really frustrating. I really, really do hope sincerely that November goes well. I still have, I know that, put it this way, I think that if all was kosher, that Republicans would do very well. I think that they're going to do well. I just hope that there's no questions. That's
the only way the Dems are going to win this is if they find a way to cheat, and the best way to cheat is mailed in ballots. And so we are going to have maybe the last pandemic situation, and that is going to be called, as I said earlier in the show, communism, because that'll be about it for us.
Well, listen, you're right, but don't worry about all the people. Forget about the laws. The laws are one thing, and they're trying to make the laws more strict, but the laws have to be enforced. The people who are in the voting areas, we don't know who they are. I assume they're vetted, but are people going to enforce the law? And you look at 2020. And although Bill Barr was was quick to dismiss 2,000 Mules.
I want to ask about that. Let me hold you up on that. 2,000 Mules just came out. How did Bill Barr know back in December and November of 2020? How did he know that this was a bunch of, as he said, BS? What Trump was trying to tell him about the election? How did he know back then? What investigation? Where can you give me a link to his investigation and his report on that election?
Did he do one? I think he came out.
No, he didn't. That's my point. He didn't.
Yeah,
he just said
he did one.
He just said it's a bunch of BS.
Coulter just came out and said the same thing.
Who?
Ann Coulter just came out and
trashed
2,000 Mules.
Yeah.
So
of course she's going to do it. She hates Trump.
Yeah, she does hate Trump. But she's in the minority. I'll tell you what. People are ready for Trump to come back.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They're so scared of this. The ratings on this January 6th thing are in the toilet. They're finding out the only 20. They have 20% of the people that really hate Trump watching it. And the rest of them really aren't. It's a terrible ratings thing, this 1/6 is. And I believe, like you and me, it has pissed us off to watch this total wreck of a hearing, this lying crap of this. The democracy is being destroyed by those people that came in the Capitol there. Doesn't it make your blood boil when they say that?
To be honest with you, Dave, I have not watched 1 second.
Well, but I feel like I gotta watch it because I gotta watch it because I want to hear. I want to see what the hell they're talking about because I want to know.
I can tell you what they're talking about without even seeing it. Okay, I can, and that's.
You're a better man than I am.
No, but that's why it's not objective. In other words, that's why it's not an investigation. It's a play. You know what I mean? It's let me put on a play of how to try to create a crime against Donald Trump. It's not. It's no secret. It's not like I'm coming to you and saying, Dave, did anyone come up yesterday or that discredited their, or that brought something up that they didn't know about? No, it's all BS. It's all
okay. I just wanted to find how they were going to do it. It's fun sometimes, not fun, but it's interesting sometimes to find out how they're going to try to screw us. Where are they? And they're talking about us as
everybody. They're going to bring in everybody, because they have absolutely there's nothing they won't do, okay, to try to get to Trump. So they'll bring in. They'll try to bring in a Supreme Court justice's wife. They'll bring in lawyers. They'll bring in anybody.
But I want to know. I don't want to know who they're pointing the fingers at, and they're pointing the fingers at white people. All right, that's where Merrick Garland is going. He's going at white supremacist people, and guess who they are? We're not even white. We're a tan. See, I'm tan. I'm almost as tan as you are. We are the same color as what Jesus was when he was around. Okay, basically, but they were calling us and Jesus as white supremacists. Okay, and they mean it. It's serious, and I want to know where they're talking about it. And they're talking about it during this 1/6. Did you want to say something?
No, I just Elad makes a great point. I haven't watched it either because I feel the same way. I know exactly what the argument's going to be because they've been saying it the whole time. They're not going to bring anything new to it. They're just repeating the same rhetoric that they've been doing for the same narrative that's been going on for basically years now.
Yeah, but I like to watch the impeachments and the various defenses when they were allowed a defense. Watching lawyers like Dershowitz, who's basically a liberal. He's one of them, not anymore, I guess, but he was.
Andrea does make a good comment here. The only good thing about these hearings is that it puts the rhinos on full display, which it does.
Yes,
I will
it
agree
does.
with that part.
Yes, it does. All right, my friend, I'm running out of time. Very interesting, though. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find and hire you?
Look me up with any legal questions, Elad Hakim. Otherwise, find me on Facebook, Thoughtfully Conservative, Twitter at Thoughtful GOP. Oh, I guess it's under my name now, and then on Truth the same way. So, and by the way, Dave, to your point, it's not even enjoyable watching this thing because there's nobody representing the other side.
I know, but that's what I want to see. I want to see them. I was shocked when I saw an appellate judge sitting there pontificating about how horrible Donald Trump was and how anti-democratic he was, sitting his butt down to a hearing that he knew was one-sided and lacked due process. I want to know about people like that.
I'll tell you what's
jerk.
more pathetic. If they cannot, if they refuse, the Department of Justice refuses to indict, that's even more pathetic because
indict who? Indict Trump? Yeah, it's all BS.
Trump. That means that they couldn't even garner enough compelling evidence to justify an indictment based on a completely one-sided investigation.
Now, let me ask you, do they indict him or don't they?
I have no idea. But I haven't watched the hearing. But I'll tell you, based on what people like Dershowitz are saying, there's no crime.
Yeah, there isn't, and I heard that from other TV judges and or lawyers. Anyways, I have to ask you one more thing. How do you pay a mime?
I don't know.
Hush money? All right, Shabbat Shalom, my friend. I talked to your lovely bride earlier, and it was a good day for the Hakim family, and maybe someday we'll meet. We've never met or anything. So
absolutely, you got to come down to Florida.
All right, well, I can't talk about my plans here in the next week or two, but we'll talk later. All right, thank you.
Let's have a place to stay.
Oh well, thank you, and you have a place to stay in Missouri. The rabbi stays with me. What's his name? Jeff Zink stays with me. So
that's neat.
No problemo. Thanks. Bring your golf clubs or soccer shoes. I don't know. I guess you don't play golf. Anyways, I gotta go, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Shabbat shalom. Have a good weekend.
Shabbat shalom, my friend. Okay. All right, we're down. Let me read some messages here because we still got them. Andrea Schrum. It's an inquisition. I agree. She's right. It is an insurrection. We've watched. Yeah, they're talking about insurrection. It's an insurrection since the beginning of when Trump came down the stairs. That's when it all started, and they know they're guilty. I still cannot. This is Andrea again. I still cannot comprehend how one individual can be allowed the power to single-handedly be allowed to shut down an entire industry. Yeah, you got that coming. And now he's begging for oil. He's begging for oil. He says, you got to make more oil or we'll punish you. Well, what do you want? You want more oil or do you want us to be extinct? Make up your damn mind. So now he's going to Saudi Arabia. What a jerk. Any others? Okay. Pamela Tanner. Amen. So she's praying, and she said amen. Okay, we got just a minute and a half, and if you don't like this stuff, you got to speak out. You can't just let this lay, because when Chris Adamo has a great point. You have to know what's going on. You have to watch this, as sickening as it is. I would disagree with my friend Elad. But you got to know exactly where they're coming from so you can fight back. You know, the best thing to learn from people, you just watch the Celtics lose to the Warriors. And they were always adjusting. They were always studying how each other would react to certain things. And they were changing their actions based on what they thought the other team was going to do. So learning what the other team's going to do is really important in my mind. And that means watching some of these boring spectacles like these hearings. And that's why I do this show. Maybe I just have a more need than most people to know what the hell's going on in the world. And maybe that's part of my being paranoid, but you know what? I think at a certain point we all got to be a little paranoid. All right, listen, no show next week. I'm going to push today's show like crazy so you won't have something to do. I'll be back again soon.